Welcome back to the Retro Wave. I am your host, El Tiburon, aka Retro Tiburon, on all the social medias. And this month we're talking favorite wrestling video games of all time. With me, I've got fellow YouTuber, big YouTuber here, big star right here, buddy of mine, musician, YouTuber, Zombie13. What's going on, man?
How's it going, Retro? Thank you so much for having me on this.
Yeah, of course. And before I forget, this is what you're hearing there. That's a Zombie13's cover of the Brad Armstrong WCW theme. Was that a tough one to play?
Initially, yeah, like trying to figure out what the tuning was and how the song was composed, and then getting like the solos just to sound right. But after recording it, I was like, I'm glad this came out okay. It sounds decent.
And I love it. And I also requested this. I remember I was
Yeah,
like, hey, man, do the Brad Armstrong one. And I was like, I don't think he's ever going to do it. Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to do it. And it just showed up in my feed one time on YouTube. I was like, oh, man, he did it. He did the Armstrong theme.
And like once I heard it, I was like, wow, this is a good theme. I've never heard this before because he was kind of before my time. So when I was like, usually when I do a cover, I go like on a deep dive of that wrestler.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's related to what's the other one? Steve
Road
Armstrong and Road Dogg. And I was like, oh, he's part of the Armstrong family. I was like, holy crap, that's a whole
thing. Apparently he was like the best worker out of all of them.
Yeah, that's what I read too. And then he went to the Fed for a bit and didn't work out. So I was like, damn.
Yeah, I think wasn't he like commentating, I think, for ECW? I remember that for some reason.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Damn. For the WWE ECW.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah, he was like a commentator, and then he was gone like pretty quickly, and then he passed away.
Yeah, then he passed away suddenly, which is pretty crappy. But yeah, that was a great theme that he had, and like WCW used some like awesome music.
Yeah, super underrated. You know, a lot of us only talk about the WWF, but don't sleep on the WCW themes, man. They're awesome too.
They're bangers.
And before we get started, since you've been on the podcast in the past, why don't you tell the people quickly kind of what you do on YouTube?
So I started doing YouTube basically when YouTube started, then took a break, and I kind of just floundered doing like guitar videos and like random silly videos. And it wasn't until like 2014 when I was like, what about wrestling theme covers? Like I love wrestling, I love music. So since 2014, I've been basically just doing wrestling theme covers as my thing. So I'm almost to like 200 covers now, and I cover like wrestling music from every federation, every year, every era. As long as I like it, and as long as it sounds cool, I'll do it. And that's kind of what I do now. Just anything wrestling related. That's what the channel is about. Mostly music.
Yeah, that's how I discovered you. I think I discovered you during the pandemic.
Yeah, like that's when I was like starting to stream because I had nothing else available to do, and then doing covers and streaming was like the thing.
Yeah. I remember that's when I discovered you. I was like, oh man, this guy's covering the NWO theme and the old school Bret Hart theme. Like,
yeah,
click the sub button. That's like the music I love listening to.
my favorite moment about the pandemic was when Sting made his debut in AEW. I didn't watch it like live. I watched it like a couple of hours afterwards. Yeah. And then the next day, like that's all I can think about, just that Sting theme. I was like, that's a really awesome theme. So then that night I went home and I started recording it. And then as soon as I finished recording it, I started doing the video, and then I did the whole Sting paint. And then as soon as I finished editing or shooting the video, I started editing it. And then as soon as it was edited, I uploaded it. So I never stopped from recording it to the video to editing it. So it was like 14 hours straight of doing that. It was
just video. Like, damn. So you just like marathoned it, knocked it out.
Yeah. So if you look at when Sting made his debut and when I uploaded that video, it's like a day or two after.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to get on that right away.
You got some inspiration right there.
Yeah. And it was like, it's an awesome theme as well. But yeah, That's what
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
about that. Like, because I'm like, I don't have anywhere to go. I'm just gonna be inside. So
Right.
just
You had the time.
crank it out.
We had a lot of
Yeah,
time back then.
exactly.
Yeah. So for those of you, and if you guys are wrestling fans of the wrestling music, check out Zombie 13 on YouTube. But speaking of wrestling, we're gonna be talking about some wrestling on this episode. We're gonna be talking about wrestling video games because I know you're not only a wrestling fan, you're also a gamer. You
Yeah,
also love your video games too. You stream on YouTube too, right?
yeah. Definitely do a lot of random games, but I definitely love gaming as well.
Yeah. And I've seen you stream a lot of wrestling games. I've seen
Yeah,
you stream like the Raw 2.
I do a lot of
Uh,
shitty wrestling games.
yeah, and I remember you're like, oh no, this was actually not bad. What was it, Raw 2? And I was like, that is not a good game.
Raw 2 was bad, but it was bad in like a good way where it's like it wouldn't put you off from playing it. It would put you off from being like, this is a good game, but it would be like, this is a bad, fun game. So that kind of worked for it. But yeah, it was not a good game, but it was fun.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna be doing on this episode. We're gonna rank our top 5 favorite video games of all time, all eras. I think you're early 30s, late 20s. So you're probably gonna have more newer picks.
I am now late 30s.
Late 30s? No way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. You don't look late 30s. That's a good thing.
Which is kind of like shocking to say, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that ranking, but first, Zombie, we got to pay the sponsors. So we're gonna take a little quick commercial break and come right back and rank our top 5 favorite wrestling video games of all time.
Sounds good.
We're back with WCW. Goldberg's in trouble. Ming to the front. Back he goes to the turnbuckle. Into the gut. But Goldberg rebounds with a headbutt. Ming on the outside. Ming gets a chair. Goldberg gets a chair. This could get ugly. They're gonna eat pizza.
Little Caesars WCW meal. Get a free WCW motion card when you order 2 medium pizzas for just $9.99.
You ever go to a Little Caesars and want to hit someone with a Tongan death grip or a jackhammer?
I've never heard that commercial.
Yeah, I know. It was a random ass one. Yeah, so we're like I said, we're gonna rank our 5 favorite wrestling video games of all time. We're going from number 5 to number 1, our absolute favorite. And since Zombie's the guest, we're gonna go to his pick first. I did not understand anything they were saying there, but at number 5, Zombies got Giant Graham 2000 for the Dreamcast. Tell us about this pick right here.
So this was the 3rd game that Sega made for All Japan Wrestling, and it was for the Dreamcast, and it was an arcade game. So it's very quick, kind of like SmackDown was, but it's based on the best era of All Japan, which is the late 90s, early 2000s, right before All Japan had that exodus. But this game had so many incredible features that are still featured or used right now in wrestling games. Like the one of the modes it had was a historic mode where you had to recreate a match in the exact way it happened, and then you would get like a video of the match itself. So that I've seen that used in other wrestling games. And it also had an awesome like gameplay element to it where you can chain wrestling moves or modify wrestling moves on the go. So let's say like if you want to do a body slam, but that body slam is also the setup for Misawa's Emerald Flosion. So if you do a body slam, you can press B at a certain point and you would do his finisher. So that was like super cool. And then you can reverse every single move, which was another like awesome thing. But it was very arcade, so it was really hard to get down like the flow of it. But once you did, it was like so rewarding. And the presentation is like top notch for a game that came out in like 1999, 2000. Like the crowd is awesome. The announcers like amazing. And even though it's in Japanese, like you can just get into it just by playing it. And it was one of those games where I would play hours upon hours of it just to nail the moveset of one wrestler down. And even then, it was so impossibly hard to get down. Kind of like Mortal Kombat, where the combos are like timing. Everything is based on timing. But once you hit that like combo, you're like, hell yeah, that was so awesome. But still one of the top looking wrestling games in the era. And it's still like to this day, it still stands up as like a wrestling game that will hold its own, even though it's very arcade like.
What's the engine? Like what is that? We were watching, for the audio listeners, I put up like a video of kind of the gameplay. Well, what was kind of like the engine like? Like what other wrestling game?
It's its own thing. This was only the third game that Sega had done. The third wrestling game that Sega had done, and after this, they made no other ones. So this engine was developed just for this game.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm not sure what engine they used, but on the first one, it had like fighters from Virtua Fighter. So I'm not sure.
Oh really?
Yeah, so they made a bit of a crossover with that. So I'm not sure if they had any like elements of that engine, that fighting engine, or if they just made something completely new and just incorporated some fighters from Virtua Fighter.
So there's nothing like that. There's nothing like this, or are there sequels to this one?
No, it was just a run of 3 games, and it was made for arcade systems in Japan, and then Sega ported it over to the Dreamcast. And they came out with a lot of elements that made it really unique, like the damage system. If you keep attacking somebody's neck or whatever, it shows you like how much damage they have on that body part with like that breaking little clip, which is another really cool feature because you can attack a part of their body and then have them submit.
Oh, so you can go like old school. You can go old school.
Yeah, but you have to like do it quick because another portion of this game is you got to keep the crowd invested. So if you keep doing the same move, or you keep like breaking up your own pin, or if you don't wrestle, or if you like do the same maneuvers over and over, the crowd will start booing you.
Oh, what the hell?
So that's really, really cool. And once you lose the crowd,
what are they? What are these smarks? Smart fans?
They're smarks, which is like super cool. But if you lose the fans, like even if you win, they just won't cheer you, and that affects. I think you have fixed your rating at the end, and they also have a referee in the ring. So that was
cool. Pretty new to back then, I think, right?
Yeah,
there were the refs usually it was like an animation, or just you would see the numbers 1, 2, 3.
You wouldn't see like an actual ref, and they had like
right here on the video end we're watching it. It looks pretty cool. What's that fire meter up there? What is that?
Once you blow up, or once you get to that max level, you can hit your special. And the specials in this game they're very like user intuitive. So if you can have like, let's say for Akiyama, he has an exploder. But
yeah,
if you do the special and let it run, he'll do one exploder and then he'll do another one. But if you enter the combo, as soon as he's doing the second explorer, you can do continuous amount of explorers.
Oh damn. Okay.
So some of these wrestlers have moves like that where if you do the special, it'll do like 2. But if you like press the button at the same point when the move is happening, you can kind of make it a little bit more continuous. So it's kind of cool because they will let you like not just watch the move happen, but kind of decide how many to do or modify it or whatever.
And let me ask you this: how do you play this? Because this is a Japanese import. How did you play it?
So this is all in Japanese, and this was around the time when GameFAQs would have certain gamers translate the whole game. So
you were looking at like the printout to find out what are the match options or whatever.
So when I would get this game, I would have it shipped from Japan. So by the time it got to my house, I would have gone. This is what 2000. I would have gone to school and I would have printed out the whole manual, which is like 30 pages.
Jeez, man.
And I would
You like
take the
you kill like the Amazon right there.
yeah.
Just for
But I would
this.
take the I would take the bus home and I would read the manuals and memorize like the hiragana to like, see like to understand not exactly what it meant, but what it translated to. So like
Oh,
I would
that's cool.
after a while, like and also I was studying a bit of Japanese at the time, so it kind of helped to like remember some of the characters and stuff like that. But after a while, I could just navigate the whole menu without needing to use the manual or the translation. The hardest part about that was doing the historic mode, because it will tell you what the next move is. So that required a lot of like pausing and going to like the manual and following along.
Oh man, so
so
a
that
lot of
kinda-
memorization, kind of.
Yeah. So that kind of killed the fun a bit about that mode a bit, but I think I only did one match and I was like, okay, this is cool, but this is going to take me forever. And if you're not perfect on it, you have to do the whole thing over again. And so that's the thing about it.
But you bought the game. It was a Japanese import, but you played it on an American Dreamcast. It was open region. Or what
It wasn't. So the cool thing about the Dreamcast is you can do the hot swap method. So you get like a boot disc, and well, you could do the hot swap method, or you can like trick it into like playing import games. So I think I did the hot swap method for Metal Gear Solid, and for this game, if you burnt it, it would run it, or you can just get a boot disc, which would basically trick the Dreamcast into thinking it's going to load like a region game or something like that, and you would just take out the disc and pop the Japanese one in, and it would just play.
Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah, it took more steps, but it was like so cool about the Dreamcast that it would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I had my fill of buying burned games for $5 for the Dreamcast.
Yeah,
but I didn't know you could do that for imports. That's pretty cool.
If you didn't want to buy a burnt disc and you wanted the actual like the jewel case with the game and stuff, it was just worth it to do the boot trick, or you can just get it burnt and it'd be the same thing.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Well, cool pick. And this is just to be completely transparent. I always have the guests give me their list. A lot of these games I've never played, so I was like, oh man, I'm glad I asked you to come on here, because maybe I'll discover some games. I'll be able to discover some new games I've never played. These wrestling games.
It's one of those games where I kind of wish I could go back and get a Dreamcast 4 and still play, because it's just the replay value on it is amazing. Like the other thing I forgot to mention was that the cost system wasn't like hey, make 20 people and have them go at it. It's like you can make a bunch of wrestlers, but when you make your wrestler, it's like, this is your wrestler. Like, you're not just going to make him and then make another guy and whatever. So you would make your wrestler and you couldn't just give him moves. You had to train to learn moves.
Damn, you were like a young boy in this
exactly.
game.
So you're basically like a young wrestler who's going to learn moves. So if you wanted to like learn an elbow smash from like Misawa, you would have to go to the training menu and choose Misawa as your teacher.
That's crazy. So it's very like simulation.
Very simulation, yeah. So you would have to, and you couldn't just learn it. So the thing about it was you would have to get hit by an elbow smash like 20 times. And then you would be like, okay, now I know the elbow smash. So he wouldn't hit you with like 20 elbows in one match. So you had to continuously do matches or training matches, and then hope that one time he would hit you with like a tiger driver, and then 5 more times, and you would learn that tiger driver, and then you can change teachers and then just go on like that.
Yeah, that's dope. All right.
Yeah,
well,
so
that was Giant Graham. Is that how it's pronounced? Yeah. Giant Graham 2000.
I don't know what the name actually means. So
Giant Graham of what? What does that mean?
I was like, oh, okay.
All right. Well, that was a Zombies number 5 pick. I'm gonna go to my number 5 pick now.
I'm ready for this.
It's Saturday night, and
Oh,
anything
yeah.
goes. In Saturday Night Slam Masters, the huge arcade hit now coming to Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. 24 megs big, Saturday Night Slam Masters features 10 colorful wrestlers, each one more off-the-wall awesome than the last, and each with their own special and secret moves for experienced gamers to discover. With 2 modes of play, single match and team battle royal, up to 4 players can go to the mat in Saturday Night Slam Masters.
So at my number 5 pick, I've got Saturday Night Slam Masters. Even though I'm a big Sega Genesis guy, I'm even wearing the hat right here. I was a big Sega Genesis guy. I'm going with the Super Nintendo version because that's the one I played. Maybe one of my friends had it, my friend Francisco or somebody else had it, but that's the one I remember playing when I grew up. Man, such a fun game. I don't know if you've ever played Saturday Night Slam Masters. Have you played this one, Zombie?
I remember playing that, not playing that, watching friends play that when I was a kid, only because they said the guy from Final Fight was in it.
Oh, Hagar, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got Hagar. They're not you're not getting anybody from the WWF or WCW. This was a Capcom game, so you got Hagar, you got a guy that looks like El Gigante, like Giant Gonzalez. I think his name was like Tiny Tim. There was a guy that was like, I guess like a luchador, El Stinger, I think was his name. You had like a dude that kind of looked like Cactus Jack that's coming out. I don't know if you can see the screen, but he's coming out with a little monkey on his shoulder. He was kind of like the Macho Man, Cactus Jack character, but essentially it's kind of like, so it's Capcom, so it kind of feels almost like a combination of a wrestling game, but a Street Fighter game. I mean, it's Capcom, so it feels like a fighting game / wrestling game, but so fun, so freaking hard, like super hard. I think I could only beat like the first 2 guys, and then that was it. And and it was just super difficult to play this game, but I still love it. Wow. I love the music in there. I love the characters. Back in the day, like Raw, Royal Rumble, and Super WrestleMania, and even the NES wrestling games, you weren't seeing them coming to the ring. Like the match would just start inside the ring. This one, they had like their little entrance. Yeah,
that was really cool to see. Like, I didn't realize they had entrances, so that was sick.
Yeah, they had their entrance with their little music and little fireworks and stuff. And this is one game that I like. I want to go back to it and just to see if I can finally beat it. But I don't know. I don't know if I can. This is a freaking hard game. Or I might have to put the setting on like super easy or something.
Just to beat it.
Yeah, I even think some of the characters in this game they were gonna put in one of the Street Fighter games. I think there's a guy we're seeing a guy here in the ring. I think his name is Biff with the orange trunks. And then there's another guy, Gunlock. And I think one of them's like related to Guile or something, and they were gonna put him into Street Fighter.
So it's canon or it's in the same universe as Street Fighter.
Yeah, so they're in the same universe as Street Fighter, but yeah, super fun game. Like I said, and I don't know about you, but I felt like with the number 5 spot, it could have been many games in my number. Yeah. I could have rotated any other game. So
no, that's awesome. I do like the element of not wanting to use a license and just making their own game with their own characters. That's super awesome.
Yeah. It's really cool. Really fun game. And this one has tag team too. So you can do like singles or you can do tag team, but it's a tornado tag team. So you don't actually have to tag, like you're both in there battling. Nice. Doesn't make it that much easier. It's still hard.
It's so hard, but it looks like this is what WWF WrestleMania and Royal Rumble should have been.
Yeah, exactly. Like this one it's definitely like the graphics are better, maybe some of the gameplay arguably better. And right here we're watching on the for the audio listeners, we're seeing a guy, I think his name is Kabuki, the Great Kabuki, this guy coming out, the Kabuki, and another guy they're wrestling. They didn't have WCW or WWE, but they might have used some likenesses. Hey, Zombie, that's not Vader, that's Greater. That's completely different. This is Greater.
That's awesome. It's a palette swap of Vader.
I remember one time even playing this game and I beat somebody. I was like getting whooped and I started making a comeback and I screamed, it's greater time, bitches. Yeah, but fun game.
That's
Fun
rad.
game.
That's rad.
I recommend you play it if you ever, you can play it on emulation. You don't got to buy it because I think maybe it's not expensive, but you know how retro game prices are.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on my list. If you say it's hard, I'm gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I think it's like Street Fighter though, like where you know how you go to the settings and you can drop down like the stars.
Yeah.
So like one
easy.
star is like easy. I just always like I'm stubborn. I'm like no, I gotta play it on medium. Like I gotta beat it on medium at least, But
Make it
yeah,
worthwhile.
I was doing the job most of the time. It's all right. It's all right. All right, we're gonna go now to Zombies. We're gonna check out a little trailer for Zombies number 4 pick.
時を超えて彼らの新たなる戦いが始まるプレイステーション2というリングの上でオールスタープロレスリング
So Zombie, since you speak a little Japanese, can you like translate what the dude was saying? That-
I'm not that well of Japanese, but the only thing I can translate is he said this is All-Star Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
or something like that.
That's exactly right. That's your number 4 pick. Zombies got All-Star Pro Wrestling 2 for the PS2. Another one I've never even heard of. Tell us about this one.
I think you can see the trend in my games now because it's
A lot of Japanese games. Yeah.
a lot of Japanese games, and this game, it's Square's. At that time, they were just Square. This is their second wrestling game, and Square went full on emulation, or sim. Sorry, full on real sim wrestling. So there's no easy way to start playing this game. It takes, it's gonna take you time. It's gonna be frustrating. So I love games like this because I like playing games where I have to learn the game system and how to chain moves and how to basically work a match. And it's not arcade. So if you're gonna have a match in this game, it's gonna take you a bit of time. And I chose this game because when I first got it, the presentation, it doesn't have entrances. For whatever reason, Square took out the entrances, but the presentation of the match and the sound effects and just the voices in the game, and it doesn't have commentary as well, but it sounds like you're in a real arena watching a match. It's so realistic, which is another good way to put it, I guess. And this was also one of the first games that had a roster, a real life roster crossover. So this is Pro Wrestling Noah and New Japan in the same game, which at the time was just unheard of.
So it was 2 promotions collaborating to make a video game.
Yeah. And that in Japan at the time, that was completely unheard of. No other game was like this. And I you can see on the video, the main poster or the main wrestlers on the game are Keiji Muto and Mitsuharu Misawa. So this game is, if you actually play the game, the intro video is them having a wrestling match. And this is the only time they've ever had a singles quote unquote match. So it's very, very, very cool to see because they never had a singles match together.
That's great. Keiji Muto is the Great Muta, right?
Yes. Keiji Muto is the Great Muta.
I didn't know. I don't know a whole lot about Japanese wrestling. Most of my knowledge is of people like Japanese wrestlers that came to WWF, like Hakushi and Taka Michinoku and guys like that. But
yeah,
it seems like you're a big. So were you back in the day watching tapes, tape trading, watching Japanese wrestling, or?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I was a huge reader of the wrestling magazines when they had WOW magazine and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I would go to the back and read the Dave Meltzer's report on Japanese wrestling, what was going on and stuff like that. But yeah, I love it because it's this game. It portrays a an actual match, like a real fighting contest. So there's no gimmicks in this game. There are weapons and stuff like that, but there's just no emphasis on anything else but having like a wrestling match. And it just delivers so well. Like the gameplay it's a bit clunky. Like it's very easy to just like stay down for like minutes because the wrestler won't get up. Because they put a lot of emphasis on like realism, and it kind of hurt him in a bit, but they made up for it in like presentation and just how the moves are animated. Like it looks really, really good.
Yeah, for the audio listeners, we're watching a video here on the side, and I just saw wasn't this dude in the NWO, the dude with the white streaks, blonde streaks in his hair? What's that? What's that suit? Tenzon. Yeah, he just hits the other guy, like did like a chop, and the guy dropped to a knee. Like, well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
dropped to one knee.
This game came out right after Keiji Muto invented the shitting wizard.
Oh,
so
shit.
Every setup in this game for a move, if you beat somebody down, they will go down to one knee. And if you're wrestling as Muto, you can run at him and hit a shining wizard.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I know. Me being a wrestling fan and a fan of wrestling games, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. He didn't just take a bump; he dropped to one knee. So that looks like you can just set up for something else.
So that like made it like super cool. Like especially if you like hit it and the crowd like goes nuts for it. It's super awesome. They also allowed post match beatdowns, which is super cool.
That's cool. So you get the win or you lose, and you can still. You can jump the other guy, keep going, keep attacking.
And the crowd like hates it, and it's super fucking cool. It did lack certain things, like for whatever reason they took the entrances out. So you can pick different arenas, but there's no entrances. So it kind of brings it down a little bit. And the creative wrestler is very limited too. But playing as like actual like Misawa and stuff like that, there's super like secret things to unlock. And like if you set the internal clock to the PS2 to I think it was like a date a specific match happened or one of the wrestlers' birthdays, and you wrestle a match with them or something like that, you unlock an alternate attire.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So this is, would you say this one, All-Star Pro Wrestling 2, is even more simulation than Giant Graham 2000?
Yeah, so Giant Graham would be like SmackDown 1, like get in there, have a match, and try to beat your opponent as fast as possible, but you're not going to take 20 minutes like this game. This game will be like, you got to beat your opponent down. You got to, recover. You can't just spam moves. So, and you can see it's very slow. It's very, giant emphasis on realism. So Square like kind of did like a good take on this game, but they went way into it. It's like
this seems like it would be for someone you're a diehard wrestling fan, and you love like good realistic. You want simulation. You don't want this, like you said, you don't want the SmackDown on the PS1. You want simulation wrestling.
Yeah. So they went like full flight simulator where you're going to be flying a plane for 20 hours sitting in your chair.
Would you get the light applause like if you did an arm bar or something? Or
there is light applause. You can also control the cheering. So if you want,
what the hell?
If you want people to cheer, or I don't think you can boo the other wrestler, but you can kind of like wiggle the left joystick and they'll yell out your name or like say things to you or whatever to like increase your spirit.
That's cool. That's another cool pick. And another one I was like, man, I've never heard of this game, but seeing the gameplay, this is something I think I would enjoy because I'm a wrestling nerd. I would have appreciated something like this.
Once you get that system down, it's really fun. But yeah, you'll be there for a while. There'll be many times where you're like 20 minutes in this match, like fuck.
You're probably like sweating yourself like after your match, like
during the career mode or the story, it's like tournament mode. Yeah, you're definitely like having 4 matches in a row. That's like 2 hours. So you're like, or an hour or whatever.
You go ice your wrist or something after one.
There's only a few games where I've like actually like busted a sweat, and then we'll get to.
Yeah, but very cool pick. I feel like we're seeing like like I said, like you said, a trend. We're seeing a trend here, and I don't think that trend's gonna stop here. But I'm gonna go to. You had All Star Pro Wrestling 2 at your number 4 pick. I'm gonna go to my number 4 pick now.
Royal Rumble from Acclaim. Now on Genesis, with more wrestling superstars and more specialty moves than ever before. 16 mayhem, incredible 6 men in the ring action. In the ring, out of the ring, out of control. WWF Royal Rumble on Super NES and now on Genesis.
Even though we just shit on this game a little while ago, it is still my number 4 pick, man. I mean, it's my number 4 pick. WWF Royal Rumble, specifically for the Sega Genesis. Because like I said, I was a Sega Genesis kid. And let me tell you, Zombie, you're a little bit younger than me. So I don't know if you ever played Super WrestleMania.
Yes.
You play that game. It is god-awful. It is slow. It is slow. I think on the Super Nintendo version, and one of my friends, Tyler, said the Super Nintendo didn't even have the finishers. On the Genesis, you couldn't even do a finishing move in the Super Nintendo version. On the Genesis, you could, but it was just not a good game. I think it was the blueprint to this one, like the kind of the beta for this one. But so when I got this one, I was all about this game, and especially being able to play like the Royal Rumble mode, like where you're in there and you start off with someone and you see wrestlers coming in. I don't remember if there was a limitation of how many people could be in the ring, maybe 4 or 5, but so fun, man, on the Genesis. And the Genesis, you had Martel, the model Rick Martel was in there. You had the Hulkster. As you can see, I'm kind of a big Hulk Hogan fan right there. So you had the Hulkster. The Super Nintendo did not have the Hulkster. You had the Hulkster. Who else was in that? Those are the 2 main ones I remember. The model. I don't know if you're a fan of the model, but I was a big fan of the model as a kid too. The model Rick Martel.
He's a little before my time. Was this game before or after WWF Raw?
This was before. This was before Raw. So a few years before. And from Acclaim, as you can hear. I don't know if you remember Lord Alfred Hayes back in the day.
Yeah.
And he would, my buddy Tyler, he does a perfect Lord Alfred Hayes. But we always joke about promotional consideration payable by the following. And I was always like,
I just remember how he said WWF.
Yeah, he would always be promoting like odor eaters, but he would also promote like, now on your Sega Genesis, run down to the ring with the greats like the Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. And I mean, it always just is that it's a nostalgia pick, but honestly, I recently streamed this on YouTube. I gotta say, I still like it. It's still fun. Is it a Giant Graham? Is it a Aki THQ? No, it's not. Very simple. You have a few moves you can do. You do get the finishers in this one, but just fun factor for me and nostalgia. I love this game. As you can see, on video we're watching, the Hulkster can pick up a a chair. Hey, ref, DQ him.
I remember this, but from WWF Raw. So it looks basically the same.
Yeah, Raw, the one that came out after this, was kind of this game, but a little faster. Like it was kind of more like on steroids. So it was a little faster. Yeah. And Raw had like super moves, like over the top super moves. I don't know if you remember that.
I could never win a match in that game.
Yeah, like so it was like this game, but it was juiced up. Like every wrestler, you could do like a super move outside of their finisher. So for example, Doink the Clown, if you stood behind someone, you could do a field goal kick where Doink would literally turn the guy into like a little ball, and then like you would kick him out of the ring.
What?
And Doink would put his hands up like it's good, like field goal.
One thing I never got in these games, can you explain that grapple system?
Yeah, so you have to lock up, and then it's button mashing. Whoever's meter fills up, that's who wins. And then you have to be mashing the button assigned to the move you want to do. So if you want to do a suplex, you got to mash that, whatever. I think it was Z on the 6-button Genesis. You could have to like spam. So this one, and playing it now that I'm in my 40s, I even joke like, man, I think this game's not for us 40-year-olds. Like, cause my like freaking arthritis is hurting right now.
Tired.
Yeah, but man, it's a fun one. It's one of those where you're not gonna play it for hours.
Yeah.
You're gonna pop it and hey, let's get a few Royal Rumble matches. Let's play a couple matches. You know, maybe like 30 minutes.
awesome.
All right, we're good. You get your fill. You're out. You're done.
You're done.
Yeah, but yeah, you missed out on this one, you. Huh.
I do remember. I remember watching this one, never playing it, but I do remember if they ran to the bottom left corner or turnbuckle, they would hit it and fall down.
Yeah. If you threw them in the corner, they automatically fall. I think in Raw you could throw them to the top ones, and you could climb and do the 10 punches.
Yeah.
You could do the 10
Yeah.
punches. Yeah. But it's still, I know a lot of people shit on like LJN because this was an LJN game. I don't know if you've watched like Angry Video Game Nerd, and big thing is to trash the LJN video games, but I don't know, man. I think these are fun.
Yeah, they definitely have that nostalgia feel. Like, because I remember like Raw from this, but can never win anything on it. So I'm like, yeah, fuck this game.
Yeah. All right, so that's what I had at number 4. I didn't choose the SNES one because I didn't have that one, but that one also had different wrestlers. I think that one had Perfect, Ric Flair, and Tatanka, which it was kind of interesting. Both they were the same game, but they had like different wrestlers. You could choose different wrestlers,
like system
on different games.
exclusives.
Yeah, system. Hey, but like I said, I'm a Hulk Hogan fan. All I cared about was we got Hulk Hogan. Let's go. All right, so next up, let's see. That was my number 4 pick. We're gonna go to Zombies. Number 3 pick. We're in the top 3s here.
Hell yeah.
団体の壁関係ないよ。
ごちゃごちゃうるさいんだよ。これで勝負だ。新日本全日本ファンクラス夢の対決が実現。プロレスファン必見。
実名選手100人。
各団体を代表するレスラーはもちろんベテラン若手も実名で登場。そして今回の目玉エリット機能で自分好みのレスラーが作れるぞ。どういうこと叫んだこの何すんだ。キングオブコロシアム絶賛発売中。おっとカウントが入った。
At number 3, a shocker, a Japanese wrestling game. We got King of Colosseum 2 for the PS2. Tell us about this game, Zombie.
So this was Spike's second attempt or third attempt at a 3D wrestling game, and this one is one of my favorite games because it features every top promotion in Japan. Some of them are unlicensed, so there's like Taka Michinoku's in this game, but he's under a different name, different appearance, but he's there. So it does that for every other federation they could get a license for. But it has New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, and Pancrase. So that's a massive roster already. So that's MMA and wrestling, and it has also lucha. And
What?
Yeah, so
everyone's licensed? Everyone's licensed?
Only the top federations are licensed. So like some of the luchadors, they have like fake names. The music is all covers.
Wait, sorry to interrupt you. Is this, we're watching the video, is this Samoa Joe?
This is Samoa Joe, yeah. So Samoa Joe was wrestling in Noah at the time, so he got in this game.
That's crazy.
So that's or somebody created him, but I think he was in the game because he was in Pro Wrestling Noah at the time. So just having that roster is amazing. Having licensed wrestlers is amazing. And it was made by Spike, who made Fire Pro. So the gameplay for this is it's not like super realistic, but it's very simulated. So there's a lot of elements that I like that I wish other games would incorporate. Like there's breathing involved in this, so you can't spam moves because your wrestler will get tired. So if you're not breathing, you won't be able to perform your next move after hitting a move. So I thought that was super cool. And then there's also an element of finishers where you start off with all your finishers, but you get them as they call them power balls. So some top wrestlers have 5 power bars or 4. Some have like 2. So you can basically start your match, hit a power ball move, and end it if the other wrestler is like weak enough. Or if you're about to lose, you can use a Powerball to like get that last second like kick out. So that was super cool.
So you don't want to spam all your finishers because
Yeah,
you might need that Powerball to kick out or something.
exactly. So this game has also an awesome like the graphics are very like early 2000s, but it didn't really need like those realistic graphics because the engine made up for it. And this also has a commentary, like some of the entrances are super cool. They're kind of like generic, but just having the ability to have entrances in like a game like this big, it was super massive. And another thing I liked about this was the ability to chain wrestling moves in a way. So you can have like if your wrestler went for a suplex, you start off the suplex animation, and at a certain point you hit like a different button. So you can go for like a suplex, or you can go for like a Falcon Arrow, all from the same setup. So it doesn't really like it had a lot of options to do different moves. Like same for like a backdrop. You can go for a backdrop, or you can go for like a backdrop driver. So it gave you like way more options to have more moves. So that was super cool.
That's cool. And it has that. We're watching the video. Remember those loading screens back in the day?
Oh yeah. I do not miss those.
This was a PS2, right? PS2.
PS2, yeah. This was Spike's last 3D wrestling game. So their first 3D wrestling game was Fire Pro 3D, which is kind of the first attempt at a 3D wrestling game, and it was not that good. So 4 Powerball, sorry, you can't go to 5. And then the second one was King of Colosseum 1, which had the same roster, but due to like legal reasons, they couldn't be on the same disc. So what Spike did was it had All Japan and New Japan on one disc, and if you wanted to buy the Pro Wrestling Noah roster, it was on another disc. But you can play them separately. Damn. So you can just buy the Noah disc and play with Noah wrestlers, or you can buy
it was either or. You had to play either or Noah.
Yeah.
Or
and then if you bought them and installed them in your system, the game combined them both.
What the? Okay.
So that was for 1, and then on 2 they got the license to do everyone in one game. So it worked out. But yeah, this game it's a lot quicker than All-Star Pro Wrestling 2, and the gameplay is a lot easier to pick up on. So it's still good to play like to this day, because it still stands like the test of time gameplay wise.
So it still holds up. Holds up. Who are some of the notable guys in this?
So this was one of the last games to have the 3 Musketeers, which is Keiji Muto, Masahiro Chono, and Shinja Hashimoto. So those are like the top guys in Japan at the time, and each one of them had their federations, quote unquote. So those are also like really awesome wrestlers to play with. But it also has Pro Wrestling Noah, which is like Misawa. It has the juniors from Japan, which is like Jushin Thunder Liger. Basically, a lot of wrestlers that are still wrestling now are in this game, and there's a ton of unlockables as well.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, I don't, like you said, we don't know if this is a creator wrestler Samoa Joe, but damn, that just tells you how long he's been wrestling if he was actually in this game.
Yeah.
They had Samoa Joe in here.
Dude, this came out in like 2000, I think 1 or 2.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was wrestling, because I'm here in the SoCal area, so I remember it was UPW was out here. Actually, that's where John Cena trained, and Samoa Joe. And Luther Reigns, Zombie's favorite wrestler, Luther Reigns. I'm just kidding.
This came out in 2004, so Joe was definitely wrestling in Noah at the time. So yeah, I think he was in it.
Luther Reigns. Cool.
But yeah, there's even like a giant American or import roster that fills this game. So you can have basically matches with just American wrestlers in this game.
That's cool. Yeah. And I saw, like, I was watching on my end the trailer. When I played the trailer, they had like a creator wrestler. Was that more intuitive than some of the other ones?
Yeah, that one was, it's a lot easier, but due to like the way the game made, or the developers made certain faces, it's kind of limiting, because if you want to have a wrestler that looks like somebody, or that doesn't look like somebody, you gotta kind of like cover up their face. Because I remember trying to make a wrestler, and a lot of the faces are wrestlers from real life. So, like I remember specifically trying to put just making like a generic wrestler, and like one of the faces was like Terry Funk. So I was like, remember, like that's the thing about this game. Like the generic faces are kind of generic, and if you keep going, like you'll see, like, oh, I know who that looks like, or that kind of looks like this wrestler. So that's kind of a limiting factor in like 3D wrestling games, but it also had tons of masks, which is like super awesome. And the moveset system was also really cool. Like you can choose like your startup base motion, and then you can go from there. But it also had this weird thing where you can set up your wrestler to go for a body slam, but you can link a suplex to it. So it looked super goofy.
What did that look like? Like a snowplow? What did that look like?
No, so like your wrestler would basically go for a body slam, and like they do this little thing to like kind of indicate when to press the button. So you got to look at their feet. So when their feet would move, that's when you press like the combo. So if you went for the body slam thing setup, and you linked a suplex, he would go for the body slam, let go, grab him for a suplex. So
it wasn't super smooth then.
No, it was like kind of, I was like, why would somebody do that in real life? Like pick him up for a body slam, let him go, and then go for it. So that, I thought that was really funny, but it was one of the many options this game let you do. Like you can go in like moveset wise, like whichever way you kind of wanted. So it was very kind of like All-Star Pro Wrestling 2 and Giant Grab. You can kind of, no, sorry, not All-Star Pro Wrestling, just Giant Grab. You can link certain moves in certain ways, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And hey, I forgot to ask you for the last game. Both of number 4 and number 3 are on PS2. How did you play these here in the US?
Oh, this one, I'm laughing because I used my financial aid money to buy a guitar and a PlayStation 2, but not just any PlayStation 2. I bought a limited edition silver Japanese PlayStation 2.
Oh, so you needed the Japanese PS2 in order to play.
Yeah, so you could
money well spent, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah. that worked out really well.
Who needs an education? Get
for
that.
PlayStations. Remember back in the day they had like mod chips for PlayStations?
Right.
You could do that to a PS2, but it would require like sending your PlayStation in, getting a mod chip, buying the chip, and all that. So I bought a PS2, a silver one from Japan. It was like $350 or something. So I just did that instead. Just bought a silver PS2, and I only played Japanese wrestling games on it.
And then to read the stuff, you did the same thing, just print it out like
same thing. I forgot who did the translations on GameFAQs, but it was just one guy who I think he was Japanese or knew Japanese, and he was a big wrestling fan, and all the manuals, the translations were done by him.
That's cool.
If it wasn't for him, a lot of these games would go unplayed because I'm like, I don't fucking know what's going on. But once I learned the menu in this game, I could also navigate it quite well, but it would let you change certain things to English. So that kind of helped a bit.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I was just wondering. I was like, I know there's I remember that there was some places out here in SoCal you could take your PS2 and they would mod it for you.
Yeah.
The Xbox, also the OG Xbox. But I don't they do it sometimes with memory cards now? Didn't it become a thing with like memory?
I think now
cards?
they can just flash them through a card, or if you leave the card in there, it will boot from the card, so it thinks it's like a region-free PS2 or PlayStation or whatever. So it's a lot easier now to do it than.
I need to look into that because some of these games, I'm like, I gotta play some of these games. I gotta check these games out. I don't have a modded PS2 or a Dreamcast.
I think some of them are also able to be emulated, but I'm not sure. I don't do PS2 emulation, so I'm not really sure what the deal with that is. But they're fairly old now, so I'm sure the hardware now is able to like just replicate it.
I just feel like some emulation when it comes to like the 64, like that era 64, it's kind of choppy.
Yeah,
kind of hit or miss.
a lot of the
Yeah.
graphics are like not crossing over as well. Like you can
Yeah.
play it, but like I know like for some of the games, like the intro is always off time with the
Yeah.
music. So it's kind of
Yeah.
shitty, but it's like, hey, I'll do that if it's free.
Better than nothing. Better than
Exactly.
all right. All right. Well, that was your number 3 pick. I'm gonna go to my number 3 pick now.
Let's do it.
It's WCW versus NWO World Tour. GamePro calls it one of the fall's
Nice.
hottest titles. Game Informer says it's the end-all, be-all of wrestling, featuring over 20 of WCW's and NWO's top wrestlers, a 4-player battle royal mode, and up to 40 moves per wrestler, including signature moves and foreign objects, all on Nintendo 64. Call now, 1-800-WCW-8661, or send $69.95.
Damn, back in the day, this was $69.95. What is that
Cheap.
with inflation? Like $200? How much is that's an expensive game. This was in 1996. So yeah, at number 3, I had WCW versus NWO World Tour
Hell
for
yeah.
the Nintendo 64. Just to be honest, I think I could have picked from 2, 3, and 64 THQ Aki games. But if I had to be honest with myself, this was the one that when this game came out, I didn't have an N64, and I saw my friend, we went to his house to play this. I was like, I need to get an N64 ASAP. Like, I need to get this yesterday. Because at this time, 96, this is the height. This is like the ascension of
Peak.
wrestling right there.
Like,
Yeah.
we're getting to that peak.
Yeah, and I mentioned Royal Rumble on the Sega Genesis. That had only come out a few years before. So the leap from the 16-bit Royal Rumble to now this, that was like huge. Like the stuff you could do in this game. So I had to go with this one because I fell in love with this game. It's one that I will still every now and then, if one of my buddies comes over that's a wrestling fan, hey, let's play some WCW versus NWO, and I'm gonna set up the tag team tournament. We're gonna no tag rules, and we're gonna have a good time, man. I love this game. It's got it's got the NWO in there. You got the Hollywood Hogan, Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton. You have your Lucha guys in there, Eddie Guerrero, and then there's a lot of like unlicensed, but you can tell they were based off of like real Japanese wrestlers, right? I think like Great Sasuke is in there. I think somebody has another name. Maybe Hayabusa. Yeah, I think Hayabusa's in there, but really fun game. I think it still holds up. Any thoughts on this one for you?
Absolutely. I remember when this came out, and because I got a Nintendo 64 for Christmas, and I got this game, and a couple hours later, I went to bed. Like, I started playing this. I had no idea who many of the wrestlers were. I remember like Hogan and stuff like that. And I played it a little bit. Then I went to bed, and I remember one of my uncles came into my room, took it, went to the other room, and started playing it. So I woke up, and I was like, "Where's my fucking 64?" And I went through the house, and he was playing it, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But ever since that particular moment, every weekend we would get together and have fucking tournaments, and it was like tag team tournaments, like 9 people in a room.
Oh man, okay.
And from that moment, like this game would like start fights, would be like super heated, hours upon hours of just like wrestling, and just it was this game has a ton of like replayability value for me, just on the nostalgia level, but also because it's so fucking good. Like one of my favorite moments is just like somebody we were doing a tournament. I don't know who I was wrestling, but they were using Hogan, and as soon as the bell rang, they did the fucking axe bomber, knocked me out.
Yeah.
I did not hear the end of that forever.
the TKO. That was a cool thing with this game. So, you get a TKO.
This game is so fucking awesome. It introduced me to a lot of wrestlers that I never knew existed. Like Abdullah the Butcher was in this game. Hayabusa. Who else? Like the Great Sasuke, Grand Oniwa, Michinoku's in here, Taka. This game is fucking awesome. Like I still I still consider this one of like top tier wrestling games as well.
So you said, did you say you were not that big into wrestling at this time, or you were just getting into it
at this time? When this came out, I was just barely getting into wrestling. I remember watching. I think around this time was Christmas '96. I think I had just watched World War III.
A lot of nice.
Yeah, a lot of my uncles were big WCW fans because they followed Hogan to WCW.
Man, I love your uncles already.
Yeah, and I don't remember watching wrestling at this point, but I remember they were watching World War III, and I was like, "What's this?" And I remember watching that, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's fucking cool."
That must have been nuts to watch as like a first time watcher. Like 60 guys, 3 rings.
Yeah,
like, what's happening right now?
Like the previous memories about wrestling I had before that was, it was just like 3 things. It was like the Ultimate Warrior running to the ring, and it was The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. And
oh god, that's a horrible
and Lex
one.
Luger body slamming Yokozuna. That was like the only recollection I had about wrestling until World War III. And then from that moment on, 96 to like on, I was like fucking hooked.
You saw the Yeti in there, and you were like, I need to watch more wrestling. I saw the Yeti, one of the 3 rings.
I don't remember. Like, I remember being like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, that's Hogan. I know Hogan. So that's all I remember. But I was just like, what the fuck, dude? This is sick. And I think Ultimo Dragon as well. So playing this game, everyone was just like, Ultimo Dragon is the best one. So yeah, this started just a snowball effect for me.
That's cool that you guys had like tournaments and stuff.
But it also, I remember it broke up one of my friends and I.
Really? Let's hear the story.
After Christmas, I went to school and I told everyone I had this game, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, I like wrestling. Let's play it." So we went to my house and we were playing this, and it was a tag team match. And I remember he I want to say accidentally, but he did it on purpose. He did the run to the ropes thing, and it knocked my character out. And I was like,
"Oh,
okay." And
you guys were on the same team?
We're on the same team. Yeah. And he like laughed about it. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So he didn't tag me in. So the next match, I started, and every chance I could get, I would run to the ropes and knock him out. Or I would go outside the ring and just do the hit attack, and it would hit him. And I remember he like got up, threw the controller down, and walked out.
Oh my god!
So
hey man, this stuff was real to us as kids.
He turned on me and I turned on him, so it broke us up. After that.
You guys were like a strike force, like Rick Martel and Tito Santana were.
I don't know.
That's too old of a reference? Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
Yeah,
barbershop
like
window.
Barbershop moments.
You should have cut the promo and said, "Is there a problem with the Rockers?"
I remember saying like,
I don't
"What?"
think so.
What? But also another thing I remember from this game is before it came out, I got the wrestling magazine for it, because that's how I asked for it, and it was a poster. It was a magazine ad with Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and I think DDP and the Giant were on it. And I remember I was in 6th grade, and I started drawing it. No, it wasn't even earlier, maybe. But anyway, I started drawing it freehand, like the actual magazine ad. I don't know if I can find it right now. But
you actually have like drawing skills? So you
I mean, at that time, for whatever reason, I did. So I remember I drew Scott Hall just like perfectly. And then I started doing Kevin Nash. And then that same friend was like, "Oh, can I see that?" And I showed it to him, and the whole class came over and they're like, "Whoa, that's so cool." And then he stole it. So I think that's what started like the rift between him and I.
That was like, you were setting that's like a storyline that was setting up like, all right, next week there will be another little hint of the breakup of this tag team.
He planted the seeds as like, I'm going to steal shit from you, and then I'm going to betray you during a tag team match.
Are you still friends with this guy or no?
No, we stopped being friends after that.
So this game broke up a friendship.
The last thing, yeah, we weren't on good terms. And then the last thing I remember from him was he invited me to his house to play, I think it was Mortal Kombat 3. And I came over and his dad kicked me out because he had stolen the game. Like he rented it and never returned it. And he invited me to come over to play it. But at that same time, the Blockbuster had called him and his dad picked up. So he's like, you're not playing anything. He's like, you get the hell out of here. And then I remember he's just like yelling at him about stealing the game. And I was like, oh shit.
Awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, it was super awkward. I just laughed. And I think that was like about the time we were going to end school anyway. So I'm like, we never connected after that. I was like, probably for the best.
Yeah, we were, I was in high school at the time. We were like super into this game, playing it like after school. This had like Mario Kart, but I remember this for a while. It was like, all right, we were so into this game, we would assign championships to like, all right, whoever wins this match is a champion. And then we were so into it, we would and into wrestling. We were all into wrestling too. We're like, all right, you want a title shot? I'm gonna fill out this contract. You got to sign. These are the stipulations. You only get a 10-minute match. If the 10-minute time limit ends, that's it. I keep my title. We would like add all these stupid stipulations and double cross each other. like we were in an actual Monday Night Raw or something. But
yeah, damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I remember the TKO stuff. My buddy Billy, he would always pick Scott Norton. And he would just hold that B button and try to knock out other people. Like, God damn it, stop picking Scott Norton because you're always knocking us out with that. He would do like this giant swing and knock people out.
Yeah. I think I remember also, as soon as I found out that you can unlock Joe Bruiser, he was like off limits. You can't use him. Muhammad Ali.
I remember Joe Bruiser. Who was that? Yeah. Bruiser Brody?
He was Muhammad Ali.
I don't remember that.
And he had gloves. And all he had was strikes.
I did not know that.
You just blew my mind. I've never heard that there was a Muhammad Ali wannabe in this.
So you can unlock him, and you can unlock Megumi Kudo, which is the Black Widow in the game, which is the only female.
Oh, that's I can't vaguely. I don't know why I'm seeing that in my head right now.
And I think you could also unlock Wrath and DDP.
Yeah, I remember Wrath. DDP, was it unlockable?
Oh, actually, was he? I don't remember, actually.
I know. I think
I'm
Wrath
that
was.
Up right now.
I think DDP was in the game, but I do remember Wrath. Yeah.
Oh, no, he was in the game. Sorry. I don't remember. Oh, Macho Man. Sorry.
Oh, Macho Man. Yeah. Because right now that we were watching the video, I was like, Macho Man was in this? Maybe I never unlocked them. I do remember unlocking Wrath.
Yeah, it was. You had to do like the league and like beat every single wrestler. So it took a bit to do.
Yeah, but man, a game that still holds up. This game still holds up.
Absolutely.
I still have my N64 plugged into my flat screen TV. It looks horrible. It looks like Vaseline smeared, but I don't care. I'm still, as long as the playability is still there, I'll play it. All right. Well, that was my number 3 pick. I don't have a trailer for your next pick. Zombies number 2 pick, because you kind of gave me like 3 answers. So I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm not talking about a dog spot, a parking spot in the back where you got to go see your dermatologist. I'm putting you on the spotlight right here, Zombie. What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is really hard to narrow down. So I picked WWF No Mercy, but also Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, but also all of the AKI games, because I cannot pick one. Like, they all offer something different. But if I had to play one and not play any other one, it would be No Mercy by like a tiny bit over Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. Only because No Mercy had a storyline that was super fucking cool, and it had just not more gameplay elements, but the gameplay was a lot more refined than Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, just by a hair. So
yeah, just by a frog's hair.
Yeah, but honestly, like all the AKI games, like Revenge, Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, WrestleMania 2000, like those are all just like in a timeline where they're untouchable by any other game in that genre.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Let me put him on the spot because he's trying to pick everything. But so, gun to the head, it would be No Mercy.
Gun
WWF.
to the head, it would be No Mercy, but I would be like, but only because the gameplay in Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 is more fighting oriented. Like it was the last game to feature like the combo system, and then a lot of the gameplay elements are kind of like the AI is geared more to like actually follow the way you set it to play. So if you have simulation matches, like it will follow what you're telling it to play as in a way, or a better way to say that. Like, because No Mercy, it doesn't really do that with the AI. They're kind of just like watered down a bit. So that's why I like about Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, because it has.
I didn't know that. So it's like more dumbed down a little bit. The AI for No Mercy.
Yeah, they wanted to have that in No Mercy, but that's why they cut the entrances down, because there was so much other stuff in it that they didn't have room for that. Like they took out the striking system, they took out the post match like rundown of like, you know how you used to get points in Revenge.
Yeah,
Virtual Pro Wrestling also had that, and they took out the stats. Like they took out a bunch of things to make room for like the ladder match, the story mode, the cage match, like the even better backstage fighting and all that, which was super cool. But as far as comparing it to Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, it's like two different games, but No Mercy holds out even more because it's there's more to do.
Yeah, backstage, right? You could do like backstage fights. And I know No Mercy, the consensus from what I've seen is No Mercy is the best Aki THQ game. That's the one that I hear the most. Like, oh no, that's the best one. Because it was the last one, I think, right? At least from the American
it was the last
version.
one.
So they're just building on each game. Yeah.
If they would have went with Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, I think that game would have taken the #1 spot, because it would have given them the freedom to do what they did with Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, but having like the technology they used in No Mercy. But unfortunately, they never followed up on any other wrestling game after that, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, No Mercy to this day is the only game that I don't really rage quit games. I kind of get mad or kind of like get in the moment, but to this day, No Mercy is the only game where I remember I had to put headphones on and start like chewing gum because I could not beat Ken Shamrock in the cage, to the point where I was like screaming at the TV. I turned the TV volume down.
Did you scream like Ken Shamrock when he was about to snap?
I was like, ah! I could not, like, the AI in that game is so fucking cheap that I remember like I was completely dominating the match and one counter and he would beat me down and escape. So I tried that match like 5 times, and I think by the 5th match I was like yelling at the TV like, ah! And like I was sweating. I was like legit like sweating. I was like, fuck this game. Like, fuck.
Wait, did you actually ever beat it? Did you ever beat it?
Eventually, my mom told me to turn the game off and stop playing. I had to, like, I stopped playing, and then the next week I came back and I was like, okay, let's. And then eventually I did beat him, but it was the most frustrating. Like,
did you scream at the TV when you beat it? Or scream at Ken Shamrock?
This time I kind of just like, I was like, I need to try a different strategy. I don't remember who. I think I was using like Jeff Hardy or some shit. But yeah, it was the cheapest I've ever seen the AI be. And I was like, God damn it, dude. But no other wrestling game has ever made me get to that point where I'm just like a little kid, like
about to break the controller level, kind of.
That legit like getting up and being like, are you seeing this shit? And like nobody's in the room because I'm just playing by myself.
I think, us as anybody that's a gamer can relate. We've all had that one game that like takes you to the brink.
Yeah, and I've never really gotten like that with games. So I remember seeing people get like that on Street Fighter when they were like losing and like there's like crying and like angry tears and stuff like that. I was like, oh god. But luckily I was alone playing that. But I just remember like yelling a lot, like legit, like being like super pissed off at this fucking game.
One time I beat the game Cuphead.
Yeah.
One time it's super difficult game. One time I beat a boss and I stood up and I did the DX chop. Suck it. But like, and my wife walked in like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, this boss is super hard.
Damn, it's hard.
Yeah.
I think after that, I was playing Blast Corps and it got to that level of difficulty, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just not gonna play it.
That's N64, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never played it, but I can picture the covers like a robot or tank
so Blast Corps
or
is another super hard puzzle game, but it's fun. But it's like it's kind of that level where like it's hard.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like I don't know if you've heard of like Demon Souls and those games. I'm like
exactly.
I don't want to play those games.
Yeah,
I know that's gonna like piss me off, so I'm not even gonna touch it.
It's like that. Like if you don't counter at the exact right time, like your health is gone. So that's kind of how it was with No Mercy. Because I thought WrestleMania 2000, the AI was super cheap, but you can still like kind of get around it. But when you're in the cage, it's like, like the difficulty goes from like medium to like super hard, and it stays super hard until like it comes down a bit. Like it kind of wavers in between because there's no way. Like the AI is that good on medium, like no fucking way.
So it sounds to me that you would either have you went No Mercy, but Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 was right there.
Yeah,
right
I think
after it.
The deciding factor is like the story mode in No Mercy. Like it has the story mode and survival. I like playing survival a lot because it's fun.
Is that Gauntlet? Like a Gauntlet? I don't remember survival mode.
Survival is just like a never-ending Royal Rumble.
Oh, so just to see how far you can get.
Yeah.
How many people you can beat?
Yeah. And it just keeps going on, and you use the same person, and once you're eliminated, you're like done. So it's like fun, but the story mode was like the best part about it. And I think that if Virtual Pro 2 had a story mode, I think it would be above it. But the fact that it didn't kind of just, it's very repetitive. Like it has a career mode, but it's only like beat all these guys and that's it.
Yeah, I bring that up, so it sounds like Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 would have been your next option. Funny enough, I'm gonna go to my number 2 pick. My number 2 pick is Virtual Pro Wrestling 2.
Oh shit!
That's my number 2 pick.
Hell yeah!
And it's one. Maybe it's got some recency bias because I just started playing this for the first time last year.
Oh shit!
I think I went into kind of like a rabbit hole where I was kind of like just YouTubing what are the best Japanese wrestling games on the N64, and this one would usually come out like as the top one, like the best one. And I love Aki THQ games. I'm like, all right, let me buy this. I bought a little adapter to modify my N64 to be able to play the Japanese games, and I freaking fell in love with this game. This game is freaking cool. Like you brought up, it has the combo meter, which I never saw in any of the other games where you're Vader and you're doing like he's doing the Vader punches, like the combo. Yeah, super fun. I'm trying to go through I think it's the story mode. I guess it's the story mode, like road to something. Even though you said it's not really a story mode, I dig it because usually like every month they switch it up. Yeah. Like, so you're wrestling in tag team. Sometimes they'll throw you into a tag team tournament and you can win the titles. And then like down the line, you can win the unified tag team title. So then your guys come out with 2 tag belts.
Yeah. It has a lot of little tiny Easter eggs that it makes it like super cool. Like I kind of wish they would have gone to Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, but yeah. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that the MMA combat system in this game is like insane. So
there's MMA fighters in this.
Yeah.
And they're hard to beat. They're freaking hard to beat. You can't throw them off the ropes because guess what? MMA fighters don't run the ropes. I'm like, why can't I throw off the ropes? I'm like, oh, they don't run the ropes. They constantly are double leg hooking you and ground and pounding you.
Yeah, it's super tough. But yeah, I do like this game a lot. And also if you're doing the I think it's called Kings Road or Road to Kings Road or something
That's
like
the
that.
one I'm doing. That's the one I'm doing. Uh-huh.
If you use certain wrestlers and have certain matches, you're gonna unlock certain wrestlers as well. Like if you have,
Yeah, I've unlocked some. Yeah,
did you do the?
but I don't know. But I don't know who they are. Some of them are like, I don't know who this dude is, or I don't know who that dude is. But I've heard that like Don Fry is unlockable. MMA fighter Don Fry.
Yeah.
Abdullah, maybe? I don't know if
Abdullah's unlockable. I think you have to make somebody bleed in a match, and then Abdullah is unlockable. And then once you win the unified I think it's like the Pacific World title, the unified title, and like another title, you get the triple crown, and your wrestler comes out with 3 belts. So it's.
Let me ask you this. There is an end to this, right? To this mode? Like there is like an ending and credits and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm playing it. I was actually streaming it late last year, and I stopped at a certain point because Spider-Man 2 came out, and I'm like, all right, I want to play Spider-Man 2. But as soon as I'm done with Spider-Man 2, I'm going to go back to streaming Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. But I was like, is there an end to this? Is it just like continuous, or is there like an end?
I think it's. I remember it was being like it was like WrestleMania 2000, where you get to the big event, and once you win, that's it.
Okay, cool. I'm not.
I think
I'm kind of like 50-50. I'm not like winning everything. I'm not losing everything. I picked I don't know what his name in the game is, but Hakushi. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what's Hakushi's real name? Do you know?
Jinsei Shinzaki.
Yeah, so I use him because, like I said, a lot of the only Japanese wrestlers I knew were the guys that came over here to the US to wrestle. And I loved Hakushi in WWF. So I'm like, I'm going with Hakushi.
Yeah, he has a sick ass moveset too in this game.
Yeah, he's cool. You can dive out to the ring. He does a handspring, like dive outside.
Yeah.
That thing is awesome. Yeah.
A lot of the movesets in this game are like modeled after the actual moves they did in real life. So if you compare, like if you find the actual match they used, you can link it or you can compare it to the move in the game, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's super. It feels. And maybe you brought up that point, and it makes sense now, like that the AI was a little bit more realistic. Because in playing this game, I'm like, there's something about the AI where it feels. This one feels a little bit harder, but not to the point where I'm getting pissed. Like, oh, that was kind of cool that the AI did this.
Yeah.
When I try to do like it's. I think I wrestled. I don't know who I wrestled. I even made like a little short of it, but they were like countering the stuff, and then I went for a German. The guy did like a backflip and landed on his feet. I was like, oh man, this looks like something out of like AEW or something, like New Japan.
It's very like real to like simulation, which is like super cool. I remember also this game. I was emulating it on computer, and I used to do a lot of texture modding back in the day, and I spent like months texture modding this game.
What does that mean, texture modding? Like refining the textures in the game?
Yeah. So when you play it on a computer on an emulator, it has the option to load custom textures. So if you dump the textures from the game, it creates a file of the game with the images. So like there's a little ring, there's like the crowd. If you replace those with better images of whatever you want, the game will load them up when you're starting the game. So you'll have crazy. Like custom textures and in the game, and you can play as them. So once I found that out, like everyone was doing like No Mercy, I was like, I'm gonna do Virtual Pro Wrestling too. So I spent months, like fucking months, retexturing this game to where like everything looked super like realistic. And then I stopped playing on a computer. I can still find games that are they're called like project files or texture packs. I can still find them right now that are using like my textures on this game.
Oh, that's crazy. So you've seen where are you seeing them, on YouTube or
on YouTube?
On
yeah,
websites?
There's still like a big modding community for like No Mercy and like basically all the AKI games. So I'll go on YouTube and I'll just type in like Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 high res textures, and I'll see like, oh, I'm like, that's my ring, or like that's my crowd, or something like that.
So
Same
it
for like
lives
Revenge.
on. Yeah, it still lives on for you. That's crazy.
But yeah, that's one of the things I liked about this game. Like I remember modding it a lot and like changing a lot of the blocky textures to like actual like high res, nice textures.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going through the story mode. I think I put it on. I don't know if the hardest or the second hardest because I was like, no, I don't want to just like blow through everybody. I want it more like realistic.
Oh shit!
So I put it like a little harder, and man, it is tough. But honestly, I can't even get mad sometimes because I kind of like how they beat me. I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool. Like I wrestled this, I think this one tag team, and this dude like kicked, like he just whooped me. He got on me, and then he gave me like one of those. He wound up and did like a clothesline from hell. I don't know who that dude is.
Yeah, are you
he
talking
just
about?
Like, I don't know who it was.
Are you talking about Kawashi with the orange tights?
Yes, that guy. And I even liked how I felt. My guy like kind of crumpled, and I was like, "Oh, that was awesome." And then he beat me. He beat me like in 1 minute, and I couldn't even get mad. I was like, "That was cool."
So I don't know what match this move happened in, but if you look at the move when he gives you that clothesline, the legs hit him in the back of the head. I've seen the actual match he did this move in, and that's how it happened. Like he clotheslined, I don't remember who it was, and like he hit him so hard that the legs hit him in the back of the head. That's how they animated the move.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, because the animation isn't just like a flat back bump. It's like a sideways bump kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, he hits him so hard that his legs just flail and hit him in the back of the head. Have you gone to the? Have you discovered the super specials yet?
So I've heard about them, but I heard only certain wrestlers have them.
Only like, I think like a handful of wrestlers.
I know Vader has one. I think he does a jackhammer as a super
he does
finisher.
like a super fucking backbreaking power bomb. But yeah, those are another element that they took out of No Mercy, which is kind of
that's another thing. So you in this game you get a finisher, but some guys can get a super finisher. Really messy,
like one time only finisher, which is like, man, that's super cool. Just a little element.
Yeah. By the way, I've wrestled Vader and Stan Henson in this game.
Oh,
they whooped my ass. I cannot beat them. I was even like, man, maybe I should have picked the big Haas wrestler because I'm going in there with Hakushi. They just they kill me. They always kill me.
They're fucking brutal, which is like another thing I like about this game. When you wrestle as somebody who's like a top tier wrestler and you wrestle a lower card wrestler, the last time I played this game, I got a knockout in like 2 seconds.
Oh, that's cool. See, but stuff like that I like because then you don't know. It's like a real wrestling match. You don't know.
Real wrestling match. And I'm sure in real life, if you pair those two wrestlers, it's going to be like a quick match.
Yeah. Because I've had matches like that too, where I'll wipe out a guy like a couple minutes in a one-on-one, and then I'll have like a freaking almost like a Broadway with like a tag team where it's going back and forth, like kicking out of a 2, like almost getting a 3 count, and like you said, like almost sweating at them, like, oh god damn, that I had to work for that win.
Yeah, exactly. That's man, it's a real shame that they didn't continue this engine like for next gen consoles. Like that would have been.
Was this the last Aki game or was it No Mercy?
No Mercy, and there was like rumors that they were developing another sequel to a WCW game, but or they were developing Backlash for Nintendo 64, but there's no real concrete evidence. But they were working on something else after No Mercy before WCW died, and then WWF went to THQ.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed out about that because I was a bigger WCW fan around that time. I honestly didn't really like the raunchy stuff. I was like a little wrestling geek back then. Like, oh no, I don't want to see the puppies in that. I want to see Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero put on a 5-star classic. I don't need to see that stuff.
I'm the same way. That's what geared me a lot towards Japanese wrestling, because it's not like here's a 40-minute promo from Triple H. It's like, no, here's a 40-minute match. Yeah.
Why you got to throw Triple H under the bus like that? Huh?
You know, in 2002, that's all I remember from Triple H coming out. His face was on the monitors on the Titantrons with Steph, and that's all that would happen.
Yeah, that was a thing in the early 2000s, even late 90s, right? The NWO, even as big as a Hogan fan I was, like all the Nitro started with NWO and Bischoff, and them cutting a promo, 20-minute promo.
Yeah, and also throughout the night, all you hear is like "chicka chicka wow wow" and W. I'm like, shit, dude, how many times are they gonna come out?
Hell yeah, man! I was all about that. I was an NWO kid, but honestly, like I would watch. Hogan's my guy, so he brought me over. But then I started seeing these cruiserweights. I was like, these guys are cool, man. Like the Eddie Guerreros and the Ultimo Dragons. I remember for the first time seeing Rey Mysterio wrestle. He blew my mind. I was like, who is this guy? And I've never seen anybody do the stuff he's doing.
Yeah, that's one of the things I liked about WCW. I saw Psychosis for the first time in WCW, and I was like, fuck yeah, this guy's fucking sick.
Yeah, Psychosis or Hypnosis, like Bret Hart called it.
Hypnosis.
He's like, give me that guy, Hypnosis.
Hypnosis.
Hey, Mean Jeans, you mean Psychosis? Yeah, that guy.
I think El Dandy's a real stand-up guy.
He's a real professional and a jam-up guy. Who are you to doubt El Dandy?
I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my number 2. But now we're going to our number 1s. You did break your cycle, your streak by choosing an American game. You went with No Mercy at number 2. But
yeah.
We're going back to the trend here. Let's check out Zombies number 1 pick. Couldn't find a trailer for this one, so this seems to be like the song for this game, huh? This is Zombies got Fire Pro Wrestling D for the Dreamcast. What's the D for?
Dreamcast.
Is not the D for something else?
I honestly I don't know what it nice. Got him. I actually don't know what it means, but that's what I read about. It means Fire Pro Wrestling G for Dreamcast. But they would name their games just by letters. Like for Genesis, I think it was Fire Pro Wrestling G, and then they had Fire Pro Wrestling S for Super Nintendo or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's speculation. I don't know if that's actually what they named, because after that, they came out with Fire Pro Wrestling Z, and that was like the last game we were gonna make. And then they retconned that and came back with Fire Pro Wrestling R. Fire Pro Wrestling.
Oh, I think I've seen that one. But let me ask you this: there's been a bunch of these Fire Pro Wrestling games.
Yeah.
Why this one specifically for the Dreamcast?
This one was, I think after, what was it? Fire Pro Wrestling G, I think was like the one before this. This one was on Dreamcast. So this was the first game to allow you to download elements to the game. So the gameplay for this game is, I love it. You can make the match as long as you want or as fast as you want if you're good with timing. And you also have to like breathe and stuff like that. But what made it really fucking cool was that since the Dreamcast had a dial-up modem on the back, Spike was like, we're going to release DLC for free on this game. So every couple of months they would release a new move, which is like, holy shit. Yeah.
For free. That doesn't happen anymore.
Exactly. So they were like, yeah, here's a free move. And it would be like something somebody just did. Like when Muto created the Shining Wizard, it was available a couple months later in the game for like the first time ever. So I'm like, just the option to have that, like, holy shit, that is so fucking cool in a wrestling game. Added on to like the ability to make like 400 wrestlers. Because if you had a memory card for every controller in your Dreamcast, that added it was like 50 or 100 wrestlers or something like that. So 4 controllers with 2 memory cards, an extra like 400 wrestlers.
So wait a minute, how did you get the wrestlers? Through the download?
You could make them.
Oh, okay. So you would just store them in the Dreamcast ones had like the little like screen on them and everything.
The VMUs. You could make them, but here's the other thing that came out of this Spike letting you download things. People started making their own packs of wrestlers. So if you were able to download the VMU file, you could download what they created. So they would be like people who would make like the next generation WWF roster, and you can download
crazy.
all that. And here's the WCW roster. You can download like 80 wrestlers at once and have them in your game. And not only that, you can download logos for the ring. So you can have
great.
like
nuts.
the actual like ring logo. And Spike ended up adding like, I don't remember how many moves they added, but it was a ton of moves for free. So like for a while, this game was like so fucking awesome to play because like you can create basically anyone in this game. And it had like UFC style cage matches and stuff like that. Like the exploding barbed wire matches, cage matches, 4-on-4 tag team matches. It's like, yeah, the graphics are sprites, but it's so advanced that like once you get into it, you're like, this game is so in depth. And then the other thing that made it really fucking cool was that the AI was extremely tweakable to where you can have somebody fight in like down to like the T of how you want them to fight. If you wanted like a wrestler who would only fight dirty, use weapons, like always like just try to be a heel, you can have that
try to
like,
make him like a Sandman wrestler or
just somebody who doesn't want to do moves but like brings out a fork and just stabs him, or like
Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody who's just a brawler. So like you can do that with the AI. Like it would give you a graph of how your wrestler would wrestle. And you can just watch him wrestle if you didn't want to play, and it would be like exactly how basically you're telling him to wrestle. But that's just the AI doing it. So I remember just this game, like I would have a spreadsheet of who my champions were and who they would wrestle against. And you can create belts in this game too. So you can have your own federation with their own belts. But I would still like keep tabs on a sheet. And yeah, it just created so many fucking moments. Like I remember the first time I got this game, I called my friend and I was like, holy shit, dude, Rob Van Dam is in this game. And I was like so excited. He's like, I'll just come over. He's like, I was like, I can't understand what you're saying. I'll just come over. And then when he came over, he's like, this game looks shit.
Yeah,
like,
because
okay.
the animation's always been kind of the same, right? It's always had the same sprites.
Yeah, it's just sprite. Like this came out around when SmackDown came out and SmackDown 2. So having somebody come over to expect a game like that with the like roster size that I was talking about and seeing this, they're like,
he couldn't appreciate like the nuances, like all the nuances.
It's a very niche audience that would appreciate this game, but those that do are to this day like playing Fire Pro World, which is like this game times like 100 in terms of like what you can add to the game. But at this time, like on a Dreamcast, it was like so fucking cool. And then the creative wrestlers, again, massive. It made for moments where I'm like, damn, that was a fucking cool match. And like it's definitely a nostalgia pick, but also it's a good game that will stand to this day if it wasn't for like the sequels that are a little bit better than it. And also I created wrestlers in this game that to this day I'm still creating in other games because they're just so memorable to me, I guess.
For example, like who? For example,
like I always have this guy called, it's a stupid ass name, but he's called Fire Spike.
Oh, so these are like your fictional guys.
Just my fictional guys. Like I had like 20 fictional guys, but I only kept like 3. But this guy was like, he looked like Bam Bam Bigelow, but he wrestled like Abdullah the Butcher. And he had like a shiny like fire outfit. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's fucking just a dick.
you might have to send me an image of that if you have it so I can edit it into the episode right here.
I wish I still had an image of him. The last time I made him, I think, was in WWE 2K19.
Yeah.
I'll have to pull it up. But yeah, that was another game that I remade some of the wrestlers in this game from. Like I had another guy called like Tiger Dream. He was like another Tiger Mask, basically. I also had a guy named Carl Van Dam.
Carl Van Dam.
Yeah.
Was he like Van Dam's uncle or who was
Carl
Van?
All I did was I took Rob Van Dam's moveset and I gave him a black La Parka costume. And that was
Carl.
it. Carl Van, and you go by CBD, and that was stupid ass. But I was like, it's so cool that you can just do that. Like, create a wrestler like somebody else's moveset. And when I remember taking most of them to Raw 2, where I just made him even more outrageous. Like Carl Van Dam was like 5 feet tall and he was tiny. It's just so fucking cool.
Who was the top guy though from your fictional characters? Who was the main eventer?
I think it was my wrestler.
Your wrestler? Oh, just you, Zombie?
I made myself as a Hardy Boy.
Oh, come on. Who didn't do that?
Yeah.
Didn't make
that was but I would never play as myself. I would just play against myself, but I was like, man, he's too good.
He's like, I beat him.
Too good. But I always brought over like Fire Spike because I didn't have a better name for him. So I was just like, Fire Spike. And because I remember looking at the CD case and it said Fire Pro D made by Spike. And I was like,
oh, I just got that. I didn't put 2 and 2 together right there.
I'm very shit at naming wrestlers. So
yeah, but that's fun, man. That's a lot of nostalgia. I did that on I think WrestleMania 2000. I brought it up in another episode. I'm so bummed out. I created so many wrestlers on there, like fictional guys.
Yeah.
Like I made a guy that I think I called him Max Powers. And I kind of made him like, he was kind of like Kurt Angle, but he was blonde with long hair.
That's the best part about these games. Yeah.
Like using your imagination, right? Like using your imagination.
And what I liked about the way they treated creative wrestlers in this game is that they don't treat them as creative wrestlers. They just treat them as additions to the game. So they're not like separated or they're not like excluded from like battle royals and stuff like that. Like other games kind of do that. Like they won't.
Like you got to add them in there. Like you got to manually put them in there.
Yeah. You got to manually put them in there or they'll treat them as like here's a creative wrestlers section or whatever. Like this game is just like, no, these are additions to the game. So we're going to treat them as like part of the game. Yeah. So
that's dope.
Because I know like WWE 2K does that. Like they're like, yeah, they're creative wrestlers though. They're not actual wrestlers. So it's kind of
they're not our WWF superstars.
Exactly. So it's kind of like off-putting sometimes because you'll be like, I got to add him to the roster. Like, why not just have him in there already? But
yeah, the Rumbles, you gotta, because I played some of the recent 2Ks, you gotta like take out some of their guys to put your guys like created.
Yeah, same for like story.
I don't want this dude in here, this Viking guy. Let me put like create a wrestler Scott Steiner from 92.
Yeah, that's what I noticed when I was playing WW2K. I think it was 19 or something. Yeah. During the career mode, I was like, "Where's my guy at? I'm on my guy," and like you got to add him in and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that was kind of lame. But other than that, like this game, I still listen to the soundtrack of this game because it's so memorable to me, and it's
that
so
song
good.
That played. It's in World. I've heard it in World. Is that like kind of the iconic themes for the game?
Oh, I know. I haven't played World at all. I've only seen what is the game capable of doing, but it might be that it might be even like this song has been in older Fire Pro games and they just kept reusing it. But yeah, it's so good. Like my favorite one is the song they made for The Undertaker. It's like they use like rip-off music because they can't use the actual music, but that song is so good that I'm like, why doesn't anyone in real life use it? Because it's
I don't think I've heard that one. Now I'm gonna have to look that one up.
It's like worth a listen. It sounds like something that they could have used for like a Mordecai kind of wrestler, where it's like not The Undertaker, but it's like evil. It's like it's so good. Like I want to cover that at some point because I just dig it so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for that one then. Yeah, very cool. I don't have a lot of experience with Fire Pro. Like I never played any of them until World for the PS4. And when I first got it, I was like, how do I play this? I don't know how to play this. Like I don't get it. Because you can't mash buttons. You can't mash buttons and win. And then I literally had to like go on YouTube, type in how to play Fire Pro Wrestling World. And I'm not gonna lie, once I learned how to play it, I was like, oh, now I know why people love this. Like, this is freaking cool. Like, it's really fun to really, once you know like how to play.
There's a little bit of a nuance where you have to line up the sprites. Like if you're doing a kick, you can't just kick them, because if you don't line up the sprites right, it's not going to connect. So that's kind of a bit of a nuance. But once you get it down, you're like so fucking good at it.
Yeah, it's so good. I've had a lot of fun. I want to go back to World. There's even I think he's one of the Samoan dudes. Forgot his name. He might be one of the relatives from the Usos in them. I forgot his name.
Tama?
Or like, I think it's him, yeah. And in World, I think you push square and X, and he does a cutter, a jumping cutter, like a RKO. And it's so sweet when you like get to hit it out of nowhere, like on the guy.
I haven't played World, but I feel like if I start playing World, I'm just gonna get lost in it, because there's so many like every once in a while I'll go and check out what moves people have made, and I'll be like, damn, dude, like that's so fucking cool that now they have the option to create moves and all that. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, great one. So now which one would you recommend? Like I get, like if I don't mod, would you recommend any that are like US that I could easily play?
For Fire Pro or?
Yeah, Fire Pro.
I like Fire Pro R because that was all in English before Fire Pro World. But
which one? That's PS2?
Yeah, it's PS2. They also have Fire Pro Z, which was like Fire Pro D ported over. But Fire Pro R I remember playing that as well and having a lot of fun with it. But if you're playing World, I think World is like the newer one, so it's going to be better in terms of like presentation and gameplay.
All right, yeah, I'll get back to it. I like picking. I think he's a fictional guy, but he's like a guy with long blonde hair and a beard. He's like a Haas guy, wearing like jeans and like a white shirt. But you just can tear people up with him. Like he does like that spinning clothesline. He has like 5 variations of power bombs that you can hit people. So you can just like kill people. I love picking that guy. I think he's a fictional guy.
So after Fire Pro D, they had a bunch of real life wrestlers in there. They just changed their name, but they had the same appearance.
Yeah.
After D, they got in trouble because of the cage, how the cage looked, like the UFC issued a cease and desist.
Octagon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the same time, they got in trouble because of the appearances. So after that, they changed a bunch of the images of wrestlers in the game so they don't look like who they're supposed to look, or they just don't include them at all. So I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, you would probably know if you saw him, but I think he's just like a fictional guy. But I love picking that guy and just power. But he's like a Mike Awesome type wrestler. You just keep power bombing.
Might even be Mike Awesome.
Maybe, yeah, it might be him.
It just changes hair color and stuff like that.
Would you recommend like the PS2, or am I good with World? Like, is the PS2 one like any different, or I'm getting the same game?
I think you're kind of retro. Like going back, like you're not degrading, but I think, yeah, if you're playing World, it's like probably the best one. Like I would only play Fire Pro D because of like nostalgia, but I wouldn't get into D or like R or Z. I would get into World because it's like the one with way more options, and you're not really missing much. I think Z had like a real storyline with real backstage like incidents and stuff like that, but it's all in Japanese, so it doesn't really help.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to it. I need to go back to that one. I've only played like some of the barbed wire stuff, like exploding ring. I love the rumbles. The rumbles you can do. Those are like really fun.
And you have like 10 people on screen or something like that.
Yeah, I need to go back with that. Maybe I'll create my guy. And I'll get over everybody. Make myself the top guy, like Triple H.
All right.
All right. Well, that was your number one, Fire Pro Wrestling D. I'm gonna go to my number one favorite wrestling game of all time. I see a look of confusion
Yeah,
on Zombie's
like,
face. This might be a little bit before your time, but at number 1, I couldn't not have this as my number 1. This is WWF WrestleFest for the arcade. For the arcades. Are you familiar with this one?
No.
You've never played WrestleFest?
Never played WrestleFest.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, WrestleFest, and for the audio listeners, I'm gonna put a little video of WrestleFest so Zombie can see why I love this game so much. Like I said, this was only available in the arcades. WWE made one later on in the early 2000s for the iPad. It was god awful. Like it's a phone game. It wasn't this, but this is a early 90s arcade game. I would say what they were going for. This is like 1991 era. So you got you got Hogan, you got Sergeant Slaughter, you got the Demolition with Crush, not with Axe. You got the Warrior, Jake the Snake Roberts, Big Boss Man, the Earthquake. So there's not a lot of characters to choose. I think there's about 10 or 12. You got DiBiase and Mr. Perfect, but so much fun, so much nostalgia going down to the arcades. Like as a 10-year-old, like super hyped. Like, oh man, let me play some WrestleFest. And there's 2 modes. There's tag team mode, so where you pick 2 guys and you kind of you're trying to beat these tag teams to get to the Legion of Doom. And when the tag team titles, which you know, Zombie arcade games, they're quarter munchers.
Yeah.
So once you get to the Legion of Doom, you talk about some cheap bastards. They are freaking cheap as hell, because they want your money. They want the money.
Oh
they
yeah.
want you to,
of course.
So I think you see the little life bars up there. Those are your life bars. I think the Legion of Doom, each character, Hawk and Animal, each had like probably 5 of those life bars.
Oh shit.
They don't show the enemy life bar, but it feels like you gotta really wear them down. And Hawk will just hit you with 1 neck breaker and your whole health bar is gone. So
damn,
very cheap, but very fun. And this one has a Royal Rumble mode. So you could either do the tag team mode or Royal Rumble mode, and you're in there. I don't know if there's a limit on how many wrestlers could be in there, but super fun, man. Super fun game. You can see the sprites are like very big.
They're nice. Like they look super good.
Yeah, like very big. This is Technos.
Nice.
I'm not sure what else they made, but I know they did a lot of games in the 80s and 90s. And yeah, just super fun. I love the sprites, very cartoony, but still like everybody has their signature move. Like Hogan does the leg drop. You can do a big boot and set up into the leg drop. You could do the Boss Man Slam, throw the guy off the ropes and hit the Boss Man Slam.
Nice DDT there.
Yeah, you saw he even does little finger wag and DDTs him. And
I think it looks really good compared to the ones that came after by LGN.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like think about
sick.
This came out before Super WrestleMania. So this came out at that time. We only had the NES wrestling games made by LJN. So you only had like, what was it? WrestleMania Challenge and WrestleMania. You're looking like little 8-bit caricatures.
Yeah.
And then in 1981, you see this game come out in the arcade and you're like, what the hell? Like,
holy shit. Yeah, it looks super awesome actually.
And what we're watching here is a cage match. One of the matches you got to wrestle in is a cage match. So like if you whip the wrestler to the ropes, they don't bounce off the ropes because it's a cage match. They hit the blue ring. Yeah.
Damn. I want to see the LOD.
Oh yeah. Oh, let's fast forward to and the LOD. They cut a promo on you.
What?
They cut a promo on you. Let me see if I can. Hold on, let me.
Wow. They got Mean Gene in there too.
Mean Gene on. It really doesn't sound like LOD, but I love it. Let me share with the audio. Hold on.
Oh, they even talk.
Yeah, but it I don't think they use the actual voice of the LOD. But I love it. I love it. Oh, let's go. Doing it live, pal. Hold on. There we go. Let me see. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
You have a commentator in the background calling the moves.
Oh,
with the DDT. Because this is the match right before LOD, so you can see the promo.
Mr. Perfect tags the corner.
That's fucking cool.
And this is one that's, you know, you can find on your Raspberry Pis or online if you play emulation games online. This is a very easy, common one and plays great in emulation.
I'll check it out. It looks really good.
And this is only 2 buttons. 2 buttons. Let's check out a LOD promo.
Congratulations! Now go for the next match. It's time to fight with a powerful challenger. We snack on danger, dine on death. To bury every gerbil face.
This, oh man, when you would see this, you would be pumped up and scared at the same time. Like, oh,
they get an
shit, here come
entrance?
the LOD. They get an entrance and look at how cheap these guys are. Oh, this guy's using the cheese. This guy's cheesing the move. You can kind of keep them at bay with like a punch.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it. Whoever this is.
Yeah. See, but look at how much light. Oh, that one didn't take that much. And they do their finisher on here.
The Doomsday
device too. Yeah, they do that shit. Yeah. What an awesome game. I highly recommend it. Yeah, I highly recommend you check this one out. It's only, like I said, it's only 2 buttons. It's like a punch and a kick. You run it when you push 2 buttons, but it's really fun. It's one, and I put this one at number 1. It's not like as intuitive as some of the like Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. It's not as intuitive as that.
Yeah.
But it's one that like every few months I'm like, I want to play some WrestleFest. I want to see if I can get to the LOD with 1 credit and beat them with 1 credit.
Have you beaten this one with that?
I think I did it with one credit, but it feels cheap because I got it via count out, and you still win the tag team title. So in my little like smart head, I'm like, oh, you can't win the tag team titles.
That's not how it happens.
Yeah, you don't win the tag team titles by count out, but that's the only way. They are super hard, but there is a way to kind of cheese them. But yeah, it's my number 1 pick. It's one that I still go back to on my Raspberry Pi every now and then. Oh, let's get some WrestleFest.
That's awesome. Yeah. I remember seeing this in arcades, but I never played it because I was playing Era 51.
You're playing Revolution X, the Aerosmith shooter game.
No. Damn, I've never seen that. I was either that or Ambulance Simulator or something like that. It was
Ambulance Simulator. I don't remember that.
It was one where you have to drive the patient as quickly as you can to the hospital.
I don't remember that one. Do you remember this one where you're like uncovering like centerfold girls?
Yeah.
It was one. I used to go to this arcade, very skeezy, sleazy arcade, and you're like this dot, and you're trying to like make little like squares, and you're uncovering like this centerfold girl.
No.
If anybody out there knows, let me know. Leave a comment or shoot me an email, something. I need to know what that game is. I tell people about it. I'm almost to the point where, am I making this up? Because they're like, no, I've seen that game. It was a really sleazy arcade game.
Were you sneaking into this arcade or?
So it was here in LA. There was one called the Family Arcade that had all the family friendly arcade games. And then there was one next door that had like the billiards. It had like darts. The dude that you would get the quarters from was smoking like a cigar.
The shady place.
Yeah, with like, like a 5 o'clock shadow, like very, and that arcade was all the way at the back. And we would always go after Family Arcade. Hey, let's go next door to the other arcade place.
Damn.
Yeah. If anybody out there knows, you're a little dot and you're uncovering centerfold models. All right. So very cool. So just to recap, Zombie had 4 Japanese games in his list. He had Giant Graham 2000, All-Star Pro Wrestling 2, King of Coliseum 2. At number 2, the only American one, No Mercy. Number 1, Fire Pro Wrestling D. And you had Dreamcast, PS2, and one N64. One N64 game. We had no repeats.
Yeah.
We almost had a repeat with Virtual Pro Wrestling too, but you went with No Mercy. I had Saturday Night Slam Masters, Royal Rumble, World Tour, Virtual Pro Wrestling, and the only arcade game, WWF WrestleFest. So, yeah, very cool. I feel like I got an education on these Japanese wrestling games.
It's also interesting how none of these lists have anything after PS2. Everything is PS2 or before. Like nothing on like Xbox or.
I was even thinking that because I told you I was initially gonna say let's do only retro, so then I can save an episode for like modern.
Yeah.
But then we kind of just did retro.
Yeah.
We kind of just did it on our own.
There's a possibility that we can do like modern, but it's gonna be like
WWE 2K
or
yeah.
what else?
We'll have to see if there's enough meat on the bone for that one.
Yeah,
but
it's tough.
Yeah, we went through our list. So I'm gonna go through some honorable mentions, and if any come up for you, you let me know. Like, oh, okay, I wanted to put this one, so I'll shoot through mine. I had Power Move Pro Wrestling as an honorable mention. That was a PS1 one. You played that one? That one's super fun.
Power Move Pro Wrestling was the first AKI game.
Was it? I didn't know that was an AKI game.
They started with that as a predecessor to oh no, sorry. That's Spike, right?
I don't know who made Power Move Pro Wrestling. I just remember loving it as a kid. It was on the PS1.
Okay, yeah, sorry. That was the very first Ukes wrestling game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that was basically the predecessor to SmackDown and all that.
Dropping the knowledge. I
did not know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, I had played this one as a kid, and I used to love because you could save your matches and then watch your match afterwards, a replay. So you could like watch it. I used to love that you could do like counters. My guy was El Temblor. He used to pick the Tito Santana knockoff, El Temblor.
That's fucking awesome.
And Malibu Mike, that was another one of my favorites. And the crowd would chant Malibu, Malibu.
I love that wrestling games were like that before. They just made their own roster. That's
still. I played this one a couple years ago on stream. Still holds up. Still fun.
Damn.
Yeah. So I had that one. I had WrestleMania Challenge for the Nintendo. Not the best, but it's more of a nostalgia pick. Probably the only wrestling game I really liked on the NES. Actually, I did like Tecmo World Wrestling. That was another fun one on the NES. Natsume. I have a feeling you might know about this one. Natsume Championship Wrestling. You know about that one on the Super Nintendo?
No.
I played that one a lot on the SNES. It kind of, now when playing Fire Pro Wrestling, it has kind of the engine. It kind of has the engine of Fire Pro Wrestling where you have to time the move, like when he does the stomp.
Yeah.
To hit the move. Yeah, I think you would like it since you like Fire Pro Wrestling. That was on the Super Nintendo, but the Japanese people got the better version because Natsume had only fictional wrestlers.
Oh, they got
the Japanese. Yeah. The Japanese, they got the one that had the Patriot, Del Wilkes in there.
Yeah.
The little Patriot. I don't know what that dude's name guy, his little sidekick.
What the hell?
He had like a little sidekick. It has Johnny, the very infamous right now, Johnny Ace is in there. And you can hit the Ace Crusher in there.
Oh, no, Johnny Ace.
Johnny, yeah, he's in there. Who else is in there? You got like Giant Baba's in there. I think maybe Dr. Death is in there. Really, the Japanese one is the one to play. I discovered that one last year.
I've never heard of this game.
You would like it because you like Fire Pro. That's one. But check out the Japanese one. That's the better one. I had Raw for the Genesis. Not those Xbox Raw games. I had Raw for the Genesis. I put WWE 2K games, but I honestly, since there's one like every year, I couldn't pinpoint which one. I only bought a few, and I've had fun. I had more fun, I think, with the 360 ones. WrestleMania, the arcade game. I don't know if you've seen that one. It It was
That's,
like Street. It was like Mortal Kombat style,
yeah,
but with
I remember that one. And in your house as well.
yeah, that's another one that was on the PS1. WCW NWO Revenge. I think that would have been my next pick after World Tour. WrestleMania 2000, just because I created so many wrestlers and I'm still so sad. I wish I would have kept my cart. I would love to see revisit my old created wrestlers. And Retromania Wrestling, that's a modern one. That's on all the modern consoles, and it's actually the sequel to WrestleFest. But it has the same animations as WrestleFest and pretty much the same gameplay, but it has like Warhog. It has like indie guys like Colt Cabana's in there, Warhog, Matt Cardona.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, Matt Cardona, Brian Myers. Yeah, and it has some old school guys. It has the LOD in there too, but
it looks like WrestleFest too.
It's a sequel. They got the blessing from the company Technos.
No way.
Yeah, you guys are the sequel, but it's on all the modern consoles, and it has a bunch of like indie guys. Any come up to you that you were like, it was this close to being on my top 5? It didn't make it.
I wanted to throw in Legends of Wrestling 2.
Oh shit, the one for the PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah, because I really like that game. Like I thought it was a huge step up from what Acclaim was doing before. But I don't know. It wasn't like it was good, but it wasn't like, yeah, this is something you got to play. Like I thought it was like it's fun, but it's not like you got to play this. It's like if you have nothing else to do, play that game. But
if there's no other wrestling gameplay,
there's other but like I liked what they were going for, and the roster is really fucking cool too. And I also thought, I know this is gonna be controversial. I wanted to throw in WCW Mayhem on there.
Oh man, that is a hot take right there. Because I remember not liking that one.
Everyone hates that game, but I remember playing that game and I was like, this has a lot of potential to be a good game. And like some of the graphic choices were very questionable, but the gameplay is like it's good. It's not like broken. Like it's really like the the hit detection is pretty shitty. But like the moves look cool, the audio is really cool, the commentary is cool. I'm like, yeah, they had something there that they could have gone and made better, but they went a totally different way.
Which one was first, this one or Backstage Brawl?
Mayhem was first, and then they decided to go with Backstage Assault.
Oh, there you go. Same shit.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm like, what? I don't understand what the logic for that was. Let's take a wrestling game and remove the wrestling ring aspect of it. And I'm like, they just fucked themselves by doing that. I thought, as far as like any other games like WWE 2K, it's like that's basically the same game throughout the whole series. Like, there's no real difference. The SmackDown games, I'm not really into them. I think
PS1,
yeah, I think they're way too fast. So I'm like, I just don't like it. Like, even to this day, whenever I play a WWE 2K game, they still have that one animation that's been in the game since SmackDown 1, which is that weird, it's like an Irish whip, but they do like a really fast reversal of it. And that's how they get the Irish whip.
Yeah. Where you whip them and then you can whip them back.
Yeah, kinda. That's been in the game since SmackDown 1. And I thought it looks very cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also wanted to include Token Resident 4, which is
which one's that one?
It's basically the 5th game that would have been spawned off Power Move Pro Wrestling.
Oh, is that the one that had tag team? Like it had tag team matches?
It does have tag team matches, but it's based on New Japan in 1990. What was this? I think 97. No, like 99, 98, 99 New Japan. I think.
Yeah, I remember after playing Power Move, I loved it, and then I saw in Game Informer or something like, oh, they're coming out with a part 2, but it never came. Nothing ever came to the States. Like
it was on. I think it was on Nintendo 64 or PlayStation, but this one was on Dreamcast, and this was on. It's very anti SmackDown, where Ukes went like the opposite way, and it's very very simulation based, but it's not like super slow. I thought it was a phenomenal game where like the entrances were like the best part about the game. Like they're so fucking good. And then I wanted to include Wrestle Kingdom 2, but I never really played it enough to be like, yeah, this is a good game. It's like it's very SmackDown based. So it's also Ukes. Ukes basically did everything after like SmackDown. It's kind of like
they were busy.
Yeah. You ever played Day of Reckoning?
Day of Reckoning? Which one?
GameCube?
Oh, yeah. GameCube. That was a good one, too.
So Wrestle Kingdom 2 is like the sequels to that, but only for Japan.
And glad you brought that up. That's an honorable mention for me. I used to love playing Day of Reckoning. That's the one that had like Stacy Keibler, I think, on the cover. Yeah, that's a fun. And it had some cool. I still have this one song from that game on my phone. It was what was it? Take me to the corner, something of your eye. It's like it used to have like licensed music in there.
Yeah,
I used to love some of the music in there.
Somebody suggested I cover a song for that game. It's
which one?
And I don't remember playing that game much.
I remember the Core. That was that one song I butchered. That was The Angle. It was called The Angle by Core, I think. And there was Pre-Thing. There was a band called Pre-Thing, I think.
Damn. I need to look up my own channel to see because God, what was it called? It was like a weird name that I can't even think about.
Man, it wasn't Pre-Thing. Hopefully it's one of those. Those are the two that stood out for me from that game. I used to love the songs on that game.
It was Showcore. That was the band name.
I don't remember them. Probably if I heard it, I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah.
So the song is called Bone Cracker by Showcore.
Oh. And I'd probably have to hear it.
Yeah, somebody was like, hey, can you do this? It's in Day of Reckoning. So yeah. This is awesome, WWE Day of Reckoning. So I never played Day of Reckoning 1. I think I played 2 or something like that. But it was only for a hot second because I hated the GameCube controller. I was like, fuck this controller.
Oh, you're one of the few that hates it because some people are like, oh, that's the best one. But it was a really abstract controller with the giant A button, I think.
The giant kidney bean shaped. That put me off the console completely. But I still covered this song. And one of the bass player of the band saw it. And he's like, wow, I never realized people listen to our music.
Even he was shocked.
He's like, it's very cool. And then he deleted his account. But I was like, damn, I wish I would have kept that comment.
Shoker? Was the
Showcore. So it's SHOCORE.
Damn, I wonder if that's the one I'm thinking of.
If you listen to the song, it's like, yeah, this is early 2000s music.
I gotta hear it. Mine too were The Angle, I think, by The Core, and then the other one was I just remember the name of the band was Pre-Thing, and I remember even buying the CD on eBay because I love that song so much for Day of Reckoning.
Shit.
Yeah. You guys know. Yeah, so that's good thing you brought that one up. That was an honorable mention for me too. Any others? That almost made your list?
That would be like every other one falls under that AKI engine. Like all those games in there are awesome. Well,
hey, you forgot one. I know which one you forgot. AEW Fight Forever. I know you're a big fan of that one.
Yeah. Rough. That's rough.
I didn't even know you could get refunds on Steam until I saw your video where you're kind of complaining about AEW.
So the policy for Steam is you can get a refund if you played less than 2 hours on it.
Yeah.
I played 6 hours and I had to basically be a Karen about it. and they gave me a refund. And honestly, I did also have a point because when I was playing it, my game glitched out a few times to where it was like, what the fuck? Dude, it was unplayable and it was glitched out to the point where I was like, this isn't a finished game. And I mentioned that to Steam and I told them what happened. And I was like, I have video evidence of this. And they're like, yeah, you know what? You are right. Here's your money back.
So even they broke their own policy. They were like, you got to pay.
Yeah. and I played it for 6 hours on that one stream, and they were like, "Here's your money back." I don't know if I can buy it again, so I don't know. I'm not gonna try until it's like.
Are
$2.
you tempted to get it again?
No, I'm gonna wait until it's at least $2 or whatever. There are other wrestling games on there that are, from what I was told, more fun than that game, and they cost like $3. Like Action Arcade Wrestling is like a Shikara based game.
That's Steam only game.
Steam. Well, actually, I think it's on Switch too, but it's on Steam anyway. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I would rather get that and have fun for a couple minutes for $3 and be miserable for 6 hours.
Yeah, I remember I saw one. I think it was one of your live streams or something. You were just ranting about it, like you were pretty upset about that game.
I was extremely upset about it, and I bitched about it a lot too. Where I was like, "Why am I bitching about this game so much?" Oh, I know, because I spent $60 on it.
Yeah, I think if you would have spent like $20, maybe you would have been like, all right, it was whatever, $20,
totally
whatever.
fine.
You still would have wanted your refund, but you wouldn't have been as hot about it.
That's why after I played that, I went back to Play No Mercy.
Just to like as a palate cleanser.
Yeah, everything is good now.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, before we get going, Zombie, it is tradition around these parts to play a little trivia game before we go home. Before we go home, we tell the ref, "Hey, it's time to go home." So we're gonna take a little commercial break and come back for a little trivia game.
Speed, 技、これがプロレスゲームの決定版。空想してから寝てください。タッグティームプロレスリング4月2日発売。
You missed out on this Japanese game. That was Tag Team Pro Wrestling. Tag Team Pro Wrestling for the NES.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. So this is what we're gonna do, Zombie. I have I sell on eBay and I do a lot of hunting at flea markets and yard sales. I found this old trivia game from the Attitude Era.
Oh,
so I'm gonna.
Shit.
Do you know which one I'm talking about? It's like a trivia game from the Attitude Era.
I have seen that on Goodwill because I check out Goodwill, shop Goodwill a lot.
Yeah.
And I almost got it just for a bit, but
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, one of them is actually kind of rare. Not the game that I picked up, but one of them is rare because it has, technically, I guess they're considering it the Rocky rookie card, I guess.
Oh, damn.
But it's not the game that when I first bought it, I was like, oh, I got the one that has the Rocky rookie card, but it is not that one. So what I'm gonna do here, the trivia questions, even though the game came out in the Attitude Era, it's not Attitude Era questions. It spans 80s, 90s.
Oh shit!
So I'm gonna read 10 of these. I want to see how many out of 10 you can get. All right. All right. First question, and some of them are multiple choice, so it should make it easier. Who was Savio Vega's opponent at the September 1995 In Your House?
Steve Austin.
You have 3 options.
Oh shit!
Yeah, don't answer. You got 3 options.
Okay.
Was it Quang? Was it Waylon Mercy? Or was it Psycho Sid?
Okay, so this isn't the one where the power went out.
No, no, I don't think so. No, because it doesn't have a Stone Cold as an option.
Okay, damn. So this is one that's maybe. Oh shit! But wasn't Quang Savio Vega?
Very good, very good, very good.
So it can't be.
So you can eliminate that one. He was the same guy.
What was the second option?
You had Quang. Okay, Quang is out. Waylon Mercy and Sid.
Damn, and it doesn't say the year, huh?
1995 In Your House.
Oh, so it has. Oh, fuck. I'm not really that into the new generation era. That was right before I started watching, but I'm gonna, based on me watching OSW review, I'm gonna go with Waylon Mercy.
Let me see. Are you correct? You are correct.
Oh shit!
Zombie.
I only know that because of
Mercy. Waylon Mercy, if you remember, he was the inspiration, one of the inspirations for Bray Wyatt, for the late great Bray Wyatt.
So all my knowledge from Next Generation is based on me watching OSW review covering the Next Generation era.
I saw them. I'm a big fan. I used to watch those guys all the time, and I was like hyped one time where they mentioned you, I think, or they show like a video. I was like, oh shit, I know this guy Zombie.
They're fucking awesome for that.
By the way, since you brought up OSW, who are your top 3 boys? Since they're always talking about.
Oh, dude, I'm always thinking
this
about
guy's a boy.
Always. I would definitely throw Psychosis in there as a top boy.
Top boy.
Also, Canyon is a top boy as well.
Right here.
Yeah,
that is sure. He's one of my boys too, right there.
And last boy, he's technically not a boy, but he's never gonna be anything other than that to me. And he's a Japanese wrestler, Yoshinari Ogawa.
I have no idea who that is.
So he's like the X-Pac of Japanese wrestling.
So he has like X-Pac heat? Like, is that what you mean?
Yeah. It sounds shitty to say, but he only got to where he got because he was friends with the boss.
Okay.
And the only championship he won was because, and he needed to be a transitional champion. But other than that, he's boy material.
Boy material.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know about OSW, you got to check. They're hilarious, those guys.
So boys are wrestlers that have never won championships, that are always going to be like lower mid-carders, that are never going to get that push. So they're basically stepping stones for other wrestlers.
I think my boy, Canyon,
yeah.
For sure. Canyon, Jannetty, for sure. I was a big, even though he won some time. I love Jannetty. And maybe Buff Bagwell. I don't know. Buff Bagwell count as a boy?
I think they're not boys if they won a world title. They can win other titles, but
Bagwell's my boy. American males.
Boy material for sure.
All right, since you're an Attitude Era guy, I'm gonna give you a Attitude Era question. Val Venus uses blank as his finishing maneuver.
The money shot. Which is
you are correct.
Wait, are these most of okay, sick. I was like, do you want me to explain the move? Or?
Yeah, I think this will explain it here. That's the top rope splash, right? The money shot.
Top ropes. Yeah. I hate Val Venus. I hate the character. I hate everything about him. Just one of the most awkward wrestlers that one of the most awkward wrestling moments that I've ever had to sit through. Like I remember watching Raw and they were showing his vignettes. And I was just watching this and I was like, oh God, no. And my mom came in and she was like, what are you watching? I was like, watching wrestling. And it was Val Venus in like the tub with like, or in bed with women.
Of course your mom walks in.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? She's like, you're not watching this anymore. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, of course she walks in during that moment.
Of course. I'm like, at that time, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching, dude?
He's like, hello, ladies.
And I was like, fucking Vince Russo.
Yo, bro. All right. All right. I'm going to throw a Japanese wrestler question at you.
Okay.
You know these Japanese wrestlers here. Taka Michinoku uses blank as his finishing maneuver.
The Michinoku driver.
That is correct, sir. The Michinoku driver. Man, you're coming in hot.
Technically, the Michinoku driver 2.
Oh, look at that. Dropping the knowledge.
Yeah.
The Michinoku driver 2. You're coming in like you slid into the ring. You're cleaning house. You're hitting everybody with your finishing move, like in the Royal Rumbles now. Yeah. So I think for you, I'm gonna set the bar at you gotta give me 7 right.
Oh shit.
To let's say hypothetically win the challenge. All right.
Oh shit.
All right, let's pick another card here. All right. At the 1997 In Your House pay-per-view, who was Mankind's opponent? This is multiple choice. Was it Triple H, Vader, or Owen Hart?
1997 In Your House.
Oh, sorry, I forgot a tidbit. July 1997 In Your House.
Oh, fuck. So that's right before SummerSlam.
Was it Triple H, Vader, or Owen Hart?
Fuck, that's a tough one. July 97. What pay-per-view is this? Is that a Cold Day in Hell?
It doesn't actually say
Doesn't say.
which in your house. You're already a fan at this point, right?
Yeah. But I wasn't watching the pay-per-views because I couldn't watch them because they were all
$50.
scribbly.
Oh, you were trying to like move the antenna to get the signal.
Yeah. So I wasn't watching it, but I could hear them, but I'm like, fuck that. But I did listen to SummerSlam that way.
So the one with Ventura, was that the one with Ventura, or that's the following year?
No, that was 99. SummerSlam 97 is Undertaker versus Bret Hart. So Mankind
is that when Stone Cold breaks his neck?
Yeah, that's the one with Owen Hart. So I don't think he wrestled Owen Hart because Owen Hart was feuding with Stone Cold. And I don't think he might have wrestled Triple H, but I don't think they went with that match until SummerSlam. That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Vader.
You're going with, that's your final answer?
That's my final answer. I don't feel confident about it.
You should have gone with your gut instinct. It was actually Triple H.
Oh, fuck.
Did wrestle Triple H.
Fuck, they held that feud for a while then. Damn it.
Yep.
So what event was that?
I don't know. It just says 1997 In Your House pay-per-view. Who was Mankind? It doesn't say, because back then it was In Your House, whatever, like, and then a different title, right?
Oh, so this one didn't. Oh, fuck. This was Canadian Stampede.
Oh, it was Canadian Stampede. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't have the name of it.
So they.
I see.
Oh, fuck.
All right, not bad. You still got 3 right. So you're
so this
3
was
out of 4.
Yeah. Okay, so they kept going to SummerSlam because this one ended in a double count out. So there was no.
Hey, but you were close. You were close. You were kind of like getting it. Like, all right, I think it was Triple H maybe, but I'm not sure. That's not bad. 3 out of 4. You're still good. I found another Japanese wrestler question.
Okay. All right.
Who was Taka Michinoku's opponent at the July 1997 In Your House? I'm going to give you the multiple choice, or you know it.
I already know. Great Sasuke.
You are correct. You are correct, sir.
Fucking awesome match too.
I never saw that one, but I remember that was like one of the matches on the card.
So they wrestled for a few times because it was a tryout for both, but mostly it was a tryout to get Sasuke into the company. And fucking they wrestled on that pay-per-view and on Raw. And Sasuke is fucking amazing, but after that he went back to Japan and wanted more money. So they were like, fuck you, we're going with Taka as our first light heavyweight champion.
Yeah. What is it better than that match where I saw on YouTube where Sasuke's like shooting on this guy, the dirt bike kid?
Dirt bike kid, yeah. Sasuke actually liked Taka, but yeah, that match is brutal.
All right. Next question. Who was Owen Hart's opponent at the Survivor Series 1997? You want the multiple choice?
Yeah.
Was it Steve Austin, Rocky Maivia, or Shawn Michaels?
So Austin was injured at this point. And The Rock, I think he was in the nation. It can't be Shawn Michaels because Shawn Michaels wrestled Bret Hart that night. So by that token, it has to be Rocky. Final answer.
It is actually Steve Austin. It was Steve Austin. I think he was back by this time.
What the fuck?
1997 Survivor Series. Unless they made a mistake here. I don't know. I'm reading off the card here.
I mean, it might be totally right. I just don't remember. I don't remember Austin being back that soon. Damn.
You Googling it to see if it's incorrect?
I'm Googling it right now. Yeah.
What's it say?
Oh, shit. Yeah. It was a 4-minute match.
So he was back by that point. Yeah, because he took the IC belt off of Owen, right?
Yeah, he took it off of him at the at SummerSlam. Damn, I guess I'm dumbfounded by that.
Well, hey, you're 4 out of 5. You're still good. You're still in the running.
Not lose anymore.
Yeah, I think you can only lose 3. You've only lost 2 so far.
Yeah.
All right.
Fuck.
Shawn Michaels once appeared on what popular series, TV series? This is a tough one.
What the fuck? It doesn't specify what year.
It's no. I
No
guess
multiple choice answer.
No multiple choice.
What the fuck? Let's see.
It was a TV series, 1990. No, it doesn't say the year. Shawn Michaels once appeared on what popular series? TV series.
I am not gonna know this one. Maybe. Fuck, around that time, what the fuck was he doing? Baywatch, maybe.
Damn, you threw a dart in the dark. It is Baywatch.
Oh,
it was
shit. Damn, holy shit.
It was Baywatches. All right.
Wow. I don't even remember that at all. I never seen that either, but holy shit.
Yeah, that was a good. What made you think of that? Just 90s? You're like, all right, Baywatch.
90s because Baywatch and the WWE had that Pamela Anderson connection, but also they had that WCW show one time.
Yeah, the one over. It was Huntington Beach, I think.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm just gonna guess Baywatch because that's the most relevant. I was gonna say like Friends or something.
Yeah, it's pretty good though. You're 5 out of 7 right now, so you're still good.
That's tough.
All right, another kind of, I guess, another Japanese wrestler question, but this is a little bit before your time, so let's see if you know this one. The Orient Express at SummerSlam 1990 was which 2 men? Multiple choice here. Was it Sato and Tanaka, Misawa and Kawada, or was it Togo and Teo?
Okay, it's definitely not Togo and Teo because I've never heard that combination. Misawa and Kawada never wrestled in WWF, and I know it was the first one because I remember the guy with the shitty hair.
Hey, you're talking about Tanaka? Pat Tanaka?
Pat Tanaka, yeah, that's his name. That's the one.
That's your final answer?
Yeah.
You sure?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. You are correct.
I'll go confidently wrong.
It was Tanaka and Sato.
Also, because they use the same stereotypical Asian music for their team. And they use they use that same theme for the Japanese female wrestlers as well. So if you were Japanese, you got this theme song.
This is the Japanese wrestler song.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to ask you this question because you're such a big fan of Ken Shamrock. In a World Wrestling Federation magazine interview, Ken Shamrock stated that his dream in high school was to become what?
Oh, what the fuck? What? How would anyone ever know that?
Shamrock's coming back for you after you. You thought you were done with him when you beat him in that cage match, but he's back.
Dude, how even if you're a major wrestling fan, how would you know this thing if you didn't read the magazine? Oh, dude. What did he want to be? So I know he was like adopted, so maybe it has something to do with that. Fuck, man. A teacher, I guess.
That is incorrect. Come on,
Fuck.
You should know this zombie. He always wanted to be an NFL player. Everybody knows that. All those Attitude Era fans know that.
Everyone knows this about Ken Shamrock.
That was a tough
one
one.
of those. Yeah, that was one of those questions where you're not going to get this unless you know Ken Shamrock personally.
Probably not even his brother Frank Shamrock knows this.
Yeah, I was like, how the fuck? Damn.
All right, so look, you're right now.
I
at
cannot
your
lose
final
anymore.
question. You're at your final question, so it's do or die. You have 3 wrong. You get this next one wrong. That's it. You lose.
You're done.
You're done. Let's see. Who was the first entrant in the Royal Rumble 1996? You want the multiple choice?
Yeah, fucking 96.
1996. Was it Duke the Dumpster Droese?
Fuck.
Was it Triple H? Or was it the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels?
Who won 96? Was it Austin? No, Austin was 97 and 98, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Fuck. It has to be somebody. It's going to Shawn Michaels.
Final answer?
I'm going to lose with that one.
You are correct. It was the Heartbreak Kid. If you remember, Shawn Michaels started the Rumble at number 1 and went all the way through and won the whole thing.
And then went to WrestleMania. So that's the only thing that I was like, it has to be that one because he won the title that year. So, whew, damn, dude, those are good.
So
those are good.
Good job. You passed the test. 7 out of 10. That's a C.
Question, dude.
That's a C plus right there. All right. Well, good GG. Good game on that trivia
that was
game.
fun.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick commercial break and wrap it up and take this match home.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. The War of the Machines continues in Terminator 2. Judgment Day for Nintendo and Game Boy. Based on the Schwarzenegger mega hit, Save the World from Judgment Day from LJN.
All right, Zombie. Well, thanks for coming back on. I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you coming back onto the podcast. Fun episode. I feel like I learned a lot about these
likewise.
Japanese wrestling games. So I'm gonna give you a chance to let the people know like where to find you. Where can they find Zombie 13?
So I'm only findable on YouTube. I keep everything on YouTube. So if you want to just check me out on YouTube, it's just at Zombie 13, and that's 13 spelled out. I kind of stream every once in a while. When it's like whenever. I have no set schedule, and then I basically upload likewise, like no set schedule. But that'll be the best place to find me.
Yeah, well, it seems like you 14,000 subscribers. It seems like it's working. Like just whenever you feel like it, whenever you want to,
whenever I want to.
Hey, because it's quality stuff. You know, if you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna want to check out Zombie 13 on YouTube. Any projects coming up? Anything that you want people to be on the lookout for?
I'm working on my own music when I'm not uploading, so I have that as well. But I'm also in the talks, in the middle of a project with other collabs that I can't really say yet. But I'm working on also getting back onto uploading wrestling covers. But I'm finishing up a cover that I've started working on in May 2021 or 22.
Damn. All right. So
just because it's really, really hard, and I don't feel like I'm that good of a guitarist, but the hardest part is breaking down a song and relearning it on like keyboard and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to have that up and running by like maybe a week or so, or 2 weeks, or maybe another year. I don't know, but it's one of my favorite themes, and hopefully you guys will recognize it.
All right, yeah, be on the lookout. So just so the people know out there, like you it's not like you have a cheat sheet or like you have like someone put up the notes. Like you're just trying to learn it. Is that how you learn the song, like wrestling songs?
Right. So it's all by ear. So if there's a song that I like, I'll listen to it, and then I'll try to play it on guitar. And if I can play it, I'll be like, okay, let's go and actually work on it. So I'll sit down and figure out the tempo, and then I'll start programming the drums, And then if there's keyboards on there, I have to like sit down and like figure out what keys are playing, or if I can catch something by ear, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like a C or that's like a D. And then that's how I build them up. None of these songs, I guess maybe like the popular ones have tabs like the DX theme or whatever, but most of the like 95% or 99% of these themes don't have any tabs. So I just learn them by ear, and if I can sing them, I'll sing them. So yeah, that's why it takes a long time sometimes, especially if a song has like a lot of guitar work. It's like really, really time consuming to try and figure it out. But sometimes I'll knock it out in like a day. But
damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, sometimes I just have to sit down on it and spend like 4 hours playing it to figure it out. And that's kind of what
by ear. By ear. That's crazy.
Just by ear. That's why I kind of take a long time in these covers, because I'm like, I know if I sit down and start working on this theme, it's gonna be my whole week. So I'm like, I kind of like I'll wait. I'll just play a game or something.
Hey, they say you can't rush art, right? You gotta.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like I'm not trying to like replicate them exactly as they are, because sometimes I'll change something that I feel like makes the song work better. So yeah, it's kind of an art in a way, but it's also like me paying tribute to a wrestler or like a composer or like somebody who I really admire. That's why I don't do Edge's theme.
You're not an Edge fan, or
I'm not an Edge fan.
Metalingles?
I'm not an Edge fan at all. So when people are like, "Do Edge's theme," I'm like, I don't like Edge. Never liked.
Because then you're not gonna want to do it. You're not gonna enjoy doing it if you force yourself to do something you don't want to do, right?
Like that's the only reason why I did Roman Reigns' original theme, because it was just the Shield theme without the Shield entrance quote. So otherwise I wouldn't have. If that was his theme by himself, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Not a fan of the tribal chief. Now we know that. Yeah. As for me, you can find me on, I have a website, retrotiburon.com. If you want to support this little podcast and buy a shirt, leave a tip. You can leave a voicemail on there and I'll play it on the podcast. I stream video games on YouTube. I'm also at retrotiburon. I'm always streaming. I stream on, right now, as of now, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, I stream. If you guys can leave me a rating, a podcast rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I don't know if it'll help out the algorithm, but it'll help out my self-esteem. And that's what it should be all about, right, Zombie?
Hell yeah.
All right, before we go, WrestleMania is a couple months away. Any predictions for the main event?
I want to say Cody, but I feel like they could stretch out the story a little bit more.
So you're saying it might not. You're rooting for him, but it might not happen. They might throw a swerve in there.
I feel like the payoff will be welcomed, but if The Rock doesn't stick around, it's not going to really be worth it. But I feel like they're gonna put The Rock in there somehow, and that will determine who wins. I'm still going to go with Cody, but I'm like, I'm not holding out my hope like last year.
And all right. And also, before we get going, I always ask people now to leave us with a piece of advice or a quote someone told you that you were like, or a piece of advice somebody gave to you that you're like, I like that. Something you want to give the people out there.
Yeah, I'm definitely speaking about this from experience. Tell people you either love them or miss them more, or just say hi every once in a while, more than what you think you should. Because it's better to get a message than get no message at all.
Right? Hey, I'm guilty of that as well. So I got to follow that advice. Good piece of advice. And as we leave you guys, we're leaving you guys with, speaking of Cody, a cover by Zombie from the Zombie 13 YouTube channel, a cover of the Cody Rhodes theme. How tough was this one right here?
This one was actually a rework of my original instrumental, And the hardest part about this was getting the vocals down because I used AI vocals and I did
saw
half
that.
of the vocals. Yeah. So getting
I saw it with AI vocals. I was like, that you can. That's a thing.
Yeah. So luckily it sounds okay, but the hardest part about this was just the singing parts that I had to do and getting that whoa very clean.
Very cool. So we'll leave the people out there with this cover from Zombie.
Hell
See
yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
on the other side.
Thank you, Retro. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you got it.